Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Super Old Game Saturday, on a Saturday this time. But whether it's Saturday or Friday, when I have to put it out that way, we're here to play Classic Game of Goodness at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight, I got a game that I was requested by Electverse to play, and I'm glad he made this request for a couple reasons, but a big reason for that, honestly, on this one is it's kind of filling a gaping hole in a lot of the streams that we've done over the last year or so. Because, yeah, we call this game Super Old Game, or the show Super Old Game Saturday, which definitely is. But we haven't really touched portable gaming that much. So, we recommended Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, released in 1989. And we have it tonight. We are using the Super Game Boy for the Super Nintendo to play it. I also ran into a little bit of a scare before we started with the audio not playing in mono. It just took me switching a couple of my HDMI cables to get it to go. But yeah, I think we are set to play this game. And with the Super Game Boy, as I'm mentioning, for the Super Nintendo, any Game Boy game you want to play that I can get access to is playable this way. Even stuff on Game Boy Color, although for the stuff on Game Boy Color that needed the Game Boy Color to run it, you will need to use the GameCube for it, but I have the connector for that as well, and I also cover Game Boy Advance. So yeah, we can finally do portable gaming more, because I think we only have one up on the channel, on the YouTube site at least, which is Tales of Adventure for Game Gear. So before we start, hit L and R, because it brings up the Super Game Boy menu. Game Boy, hello. Well, hello, Dolly Finn. Hope you're having a good night. Good to see you tonight for Super Mario Land. We're using the Super Game Boy on the Super Nintendo to play it. And I'm opening up the menu for this for a couple reasons, because you have a couple optional things you can do. You could change your border. You also have this frowny face. Hi, Sweetverse. How you doing? Good to see you, and thank you for the request on Super Mario Land. We're here to play it. Yeah, I'm just going through the borders on the Super Game Boy, because honestly, this is going to be a pretty short game if I hold it correctly, but that's not going to be a guarantee, necessarily. Yeah, this frowny face, if you have a game that has Super Game Boy enhancements to it, then you could turn that on for custom graphics, or you can have other things as far as border. I'm going to keep the Super Game Boy look for the purpose of this, but one thing else I want to do is I want to go into the controller, switch my buttons. You hit on Type A, you have the B button on the Y button, so it's easier for running in this, and then the B button for jumping. Oh wait, yeah, if you hit L and R, that comes up. You also use the Super Nintendo mouse for this if you have it to navigate the menus. I do have it, and I do have Mario Paint for the purpose of that. We can do that at some point. Just to show a quick little bit of this before we start, you can also put your own custom colors into this, because that was the big idea of the Game Boy. Initially, it looked like, let me show this. Yeah, you have an option of settings of colors. Back in 1989, it looked like this. And you can still set it to play like that. Or if you had a Game Boy Pocket, it looked like, trying to remember where the black and white, yeah, this one, I believe. But yeah, for the purpose of this, I'm going to one on 1F. So you have to color. Wow. Yeah, it definitely is, and it's going back a ways, as I mentioned. This was 1989 this game came out. And a rare Mario game that was not by Shigeru Miyamoto. This was directed by Satoru Okada, who worked at Nintendo R&D 1, who made Wrecking Crew and Stack Up on NES. And it was produced by the late Gunpei Yokoi, who was the father of the Game Boy as well as the Game & Watch units, and developed games like Metroid and Kid Icarus. But yeah, this was one of 5 launch games on the Game Boy back in 1989, the other ones being Alleyway, Baseball, Tennis, and Tetris. And Tetris was bundled in with the system, this was not. But yeah, alright, well I think we can get started on this. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm glad. I'm glad to be doing this, and thank you for requesting it. Well, again, because I like the games you request. I like going through what viewers want to see. And also because we haven't done much portable gaming, and I feel that that's something we need to fix. So yeah, what better way to go with the first portable game we're playing on the actual cartridge? Because yeah, I'm using the Super Nintendo cartridge for the Super Game Boy and the Game Boy cartridge within it for running this. So yeah, let's get to it then. I hit start. Hear that wonderful music. And feel free to let me know, chat, any memories you have about this game or any insights on what you're seeing. Alright, so yeah, we have this wonderful music. This is by Hirokazu Tanaka, who also did the music on Mario Brothers, the arcade game, as well as Metroid, Fire Emblem 1, and Earthbound, and also Dr. Mario. For some reason, it wasn't credited there. Alright, yeah, we are not in the Mushroom Kingdom on this one, though. We are in Sarasa Land with Mario, and with all of these strange enemies that look familiar. That's a Goomba. Well, not in this game, it's not a Goomba. It is a, Chibibo. Okay, and I'm not watching the screen that way and running into that and getting myself shrunk. Because, yeah, like the other Mario games, you pick up a mushroom, it protects you from a hit, but if not, you're gonna... If it goes down like that, you're gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna try and get another flower if I can, so I can start using my not fireballs. Also, there's the not Koopas. They explode, so you gotta be careful about that. And yeah, here's the thing about this game. As far as my experience with this, I actually didn't play this game until really late. I mean, I got the Game Boy Color. That was my first Game Boy system. I played that system in 1998, as well as getting the Star here. Yeah, which plays the Can-Can music from the Orpheus in the Underworld by Jacques Offenbach. Yeah, it's definitely strange this way, but yeah, we are in a strange land, hence the title. But yeah, I honestly didn't play this until 2007. I really got to this late as far as playing exclusively, and also did something that I guess was kind of not right. I played Mario Land 3 before I played this one, so it was kind of hard to come to this, although in the years as I've played it, I've kind of gotten to it. Also, I got to the end, you get to the door at the top of it, get a little bit of a bonus game. Mario's moving up and down like that without me doing anything, as is that ladder. Press the A button, or B button in this case, at the right time. He'll walk across. If he goes to the ladder, he'll go down. Actually, it helped me because I got 2 lives. And this game introduced Daisy. Yes, Princess Daisy, because we are rescuing her in this game from the evil Tatanga. I guess that was a surprise to me in a lot of cases. I guess when I kind of got back to it later, because the thing like, okay, it looks like the other Mario games, and I just lost the Super Ball. The Super Ball is like the Fireball, except it bounces around, you pick up coins, and it kills things. But, yeah, it was not Princess Toadstool or Princess Peach as it was in this one, but Princess Daisy. Yeah, going around to introduce her, and I guess after this, we didn't see Daisy until, I think it was Mario Tennis, or on the N64, and I think on the Game Boy Color edition as well. But yeah, definitely is an interesting representation of Mario to start on Game Boy, along with the other ones that came out, which were Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, and sort of with Mario, with Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, which is the one I'm familiar with. Also, you get that heart, that's a 1-up. But yeah, in that case, I kind of came to these games backwards, but I do like, going back to this and seeing, because we sort of showed the Sonic stuff as far as what was Sonic doing portable-wise. Okay, fine, I'm wrong. We had a Game Gear for Sonic 1 as well, the YouTube site as well. But yeah, I think in this case, it pays to go through some of these classic things. My memory of this is playing this on 3DS. Yes, because... Alright, unfortunately, I was trying to go for either the 3 lives or the flower to get the Super Ball. Yeah, but your memory playing this on 3DS, yes, because this is on the 3DS Virtual Console. It is a $3 or $4 or $5 download. I don't remember specifically how much it costs. But, yeah, that was the way to be able to play it and actually get it pretty affordably. It's not an expensive game as it is now, but, yeah, it is definitely an interesting case to that. And a good one to pick up as far as the 3DS Virtual Console. Yeah, I'm going down a pipe. I should have done that in 1-1. And find these hidden areas just like Super Mario Bros. It was. So yeah, it is like Super Mario Bros. NES, but with its own feel and also its own physics engine. You're seeing right there, you fall really quick. So yeah, that's definitely a challenge of playing this, but it's not too bad. I mean, honestly, I'll say this, I kind of was a little more harsh to it initially when I first played it, but honestly, as the years went by, did I just go through that thing? Yeah, it looks like it did. I just stopped because I want to look at that and see the delay, but alright. But it definitely has a great atmosphere to it as well. In some ways, when you really think about it, for the time, it really was one of the more otherworldly Mario games. Because at this point, we only had Super Mario Brothers on NES, and then Super Mario Brothers 2, the Japanese version, and then the US version. The US version being in Subcon, where that was set. Oh yeah, don't want to run that quickly because those things come off the ceiling and it hurts you. But yeah, this one, it definitely felt... I mean, it lives up to its name when you really think about it, because, yeah, Super Mario Land, we are in another land. Sarasa Land does not feel like any other Mario environment that we've been to at the time. Perfect, alright. Yeah, because I want to get that Super Ball for the boss here. Because, yeah, every third level of a world, of which there's only 4, has a boss. And I want to have the Super Ball so I don't get myself hurt. Also, by the way, when you throw the Super Ball, you have to wait till it comes back before you throw it again. But it bounces on walls, and you can hit... Okay, yeah, you can also get coins with it. But it also makes the boss really easy. If you don't have the Super Ball, you have to dodge the fireballs and go underneath them. But in that case, do that, kill him, and hit the trigger thing. So it's just like Super Mario Brothers in the sense you're hitting the axe. And with that, and in only 10 minutes, not even, we are done with the first world. There's only 4, but I'm going to get some more play out of this game. I will promise you that, to a certain degree. Assuming I die. But anyway, as Sweet was saying, here is Daisy. Yeah, but our princess is in another castle. And you always get that fake out there of, yeah, the little buggy guy coming off, but it's like, yeah, we're gonna find Daisy and we'll bring her back. At the end of each boss world, or of the third level of each world, you get one of these bonus games automatically. So... Okay, that worked better, so you get 3 lives. Because I want to have a lot of lives in case I die, because I was dying a lot on the test playthrough. And now we're in kind of a spacey area. This is Muda. But yeah, in this case, yeah, we should be able to keep going with this and have a good time for this. And I do want to get more points and more coins, because as is one with Mario games, get 100 coins is worth a life. And if I get 100,000 points, you get to continue, which I'm going to want to have if I can get them. In fact, yeah, here's a good way to get them. In that case, I'm getting lucky so I can get the Super Ball. And usually, this is what you want to do. You want to find these rooms, and I can't jump up there, but hey, my Super Ball can get up there, feasibly. And you have a time limit, but yeah, you're not going to be running down it as... Okay, unfortunately, I hit the pipe, so I wasn't able to get the coins, but yeah, whatever. Alright. Yeah, keep going through and enjoying the great atmosphere, as I mentioned, and music. And it is an interesting case for Game Boy. Alright, yeah, I got hit, and unfortunately that takes you down to small Mario no matter what you are. But... yeah, I do like the style of it, at the very least, for sure. Just, in my case, the controls are the big adjustment, because it definitely plays differently than some of the Mario games on NES, but it still is feasibly very playable, and I guess I'm doing better on this than I did on the test playthrough, and also you have to find the hidden block to get up here. So yeah, definitely like the Mario you're used to, but definitely the portable variant, and I guess let's go into that idea of portable gaming, and chat, feel free to let me know what you're thinking about that, or with this game as it is. Because, yeah, oh yeah, that's a multi-coin block, so yeah, the hint is that it turns into the, like, brick there. But yeah, I guess at the time for 1989, the idea is that, hey, you are going to go out and be on the go, and you're not going to be able to play your NES as it was, if you're a Nintendo person, particularly at the time, so what is the way to get your gaming fix? Yeah, nowadays we have the Switch, where you can have a console with you on the road, feasibly. But yeah, back in the day, we had this kind of thing. This and Game Gear of what we've shown. It definitely was a different time. It's interesting to look back on that, all this time that's passed. But yeah, they still have a lot of intrigue and a lot of value to be looking at. As I said, we get in the guts of gaming on this show, and I think we do need to cover portable gaming more. And I'm glad that, chat, you wanted to see portable gaming, and you gave me an interesting one to start with. And a good one from the historical perspective, as far as a lot of the things this is doing for Mario. And one that, you mentioned this to a lot of people, they tend to have this ping of nostalgia there. Alright, yeah, there we go. Now I'm using the Super Ball correctly. So letting it bounce around. In this case, I think what I'm going to do is just jump up here, wait till it goes, and then launch it. Or not. So you have to kind of like, do like a bank shot in like pool or something. Alright. Or maybe not. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, sometimes it's getting a little stuck, so... it is weird, but it also is one of the only Mario games to have this. Actually, I believe, correct me chat if this is not right, or I'll correct myself later. I believe that they patched Super Mario Maker 2 on the Switch to have usage of the Super Ball. And this has been constantly referenced in other games, like the Super Mario Maker stuff, and also in the WarioWare games. I remember the WarioWare Smooth Moves, which is the Wii game, had a reference to this. You actually had to jump up, get the coin, and they actually changed the animation of this game to make Mario look really sad, and then Wario look like, yeah, I just screwed you out of coins. Which is obviously Wario's thing. Also, yeah, that is a hidden path down there, but actually probably better come up here to get the star. But yeah, there's actually an invisible floor, and you can stand on it, and you do that, you can go down there and get the coins, but you need to be small for it. So yeah, it does give you a little bit of a incentive to be small, but it is a little more of a risk, because if you get hit at once when you're small, you're gonna be in trouble, and feasibly, okay, not feasibly, you're gonna die if you're small and you get hit. I also don't want to hit the enemies or get hit by them, because I don't want to lose the Super Ball, at least not yet. Alright. Alright, so, yeah, alright. Oh, okay, yeah, first it looked like I went through that again, but yeah, nothing happened to it. Also, these blocks, they will fall, so I'm going to try and jump on them quickly to get up to the top, get up there, and got it. Actually, I'm doing way better on this game than I expected I would. As I mentioned, the idea is that we're going through this, we've gone through this, and the idea of like these games kind of being shorter, but still having a lot of intrigue to it. I picked up Puzzle Dragons Mario Edition and Project Cross Zone today. Yeah, for 3DS, both of those. I played demo on Project Cross Zone, which I was very curious about. That was like the mix of a lot of things of Sega's and I think, was there Atlas stuff in that? It was like this kind of strategy RPG to a certain degree. Perspective, kind of a little bit action bent. And also Puzzle Dragons. I've never played that. There's like a puzzle game, I think. which I've heard very good things about on both of those. And I played a little bit of Project Crossover because there's a demo of that. And at some point, I'm gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with 3DS. I just need to find a capture device, because those things apparently running into money, and I'm finding it hard to find one just in general outside of the cost. Also, yeah, we are in the submarine, which is the Sub Pop as it is. There's another ace in the hole of this game. It's like, yeah, we're turning into like Gradius-like game, or like a flight shooter game with this one, as you're shooting the octopus and everything in this. But you have to be careful when you kill the octopus; they explode in those 2 balls and orbs like that. You get this, again, very peppy and charming music. But yeah, you do have your weapon, but you still go small to get hit, so be careful. Alright. Actually, no, we're not in a... Oh yeah, we are a submarine. I should play it. Okay, yeah, I should take a look at that, but I do want to figure what I can do on 3DS, because I've been thinking about this. And I kind of thought of this all week, Sweet First Honestly on you, because you said, let's play this, because I don't think these games are remembered that much anymore. Which is weird, because these games sold really well, the Mario Land games. But I'm just saying, like, what are we going to do portable-wise? Because I mentioned 3DS, I don't have streaming equipment for that, or DS. I mean, as it is right now, okay, I just shot down, what's his name? Dragon Zamasu. Oh, yeah, he's dead. But I do want to figure out what we can do on that. Because, as I mentioned, we haven't done enough portable games, number one. And number two, I do have stuff on 3DS and DS I'd like to show. And other portables as well. I mean, right now, I guess where we're at with that, I have stuff on Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance we can run no problem. The Game Gear stuff for the Sonic games are fine, because I have them in collections. And, yeah, outside of that, Game Gear's gonna be an easier one, because I just have to get a Retron 5 and the adapter for it. But outside of that, then it's gonna be DS, 3DS, and I want to figure out what I can do with that, because honestly, I have stuff on 3DS I'd like to show, and actually, you mentioned playing this game on 3DS Virtual Console. I have stuff on 3DS Virtual Console that I'd like to show that way, because in a lot of cases, it costs much more to get it in its normal form. Stuff like Mole Mania and especially Shantae, because I have Shantae from Game Boy Color on there, although that's on Switch now, so I can just buy the Switch version and we play it there. But yeah, those games cost a fortune, or fine. Mole Mania is a little up there. Shantae is one of the rarest games on the system, but yeah, I definitely like to go back to the thing on Puzzle Dragons Mario Edition and Project Cross Zone. I liked Project Cross Zone quite a bit when I played it, as far as the demo on the store, but Mario... Actually, I think... Is there a demo on that Puzzle and Dragons game? And I do like myself a good puzzle game, as it isn't... I think we gotta do more puzzle games, or get back to some stuff with puzzle games, of which... okay, yeah, I got shot by... That's not a bullet bill, despite the name. And we're also in Easter Island, or as they call it, they call this, Easton is the place we're in now. Whoa. Yeah, we have those little totem things that are causing trouble. And yeah, the jumping patterns, yeah, you have to be careful what they are and avoid the exploding... See, I don't want to call them Koopa Troopas, because that's not really the name, but yeah, as a Mario player, you're familiar with that. Oh, no! Okay, good, I just got that before it fell off. But yeah, as I was saying, there definitely are puzzle games at some point. Actually, as I mentioned, at some point I want to do more stuff with, viewer requests, and I think what I'm going to do for next year. As I mentioned, I got some ideas on what we want to do for next year, and as I said, the Zelda stuff, we were doing one episode of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time a month for next year. But I do think I want to take more viewer requests, so I think at least once a month, I think I'm gonna pull a viewer request out. And I know one of them, Tweeters you mentioned, was okay, yeah, first death, thankfully, and I have 15 lives, or 16, because 0 just counts as a life. Yeah, at some point I do want to get to some of those, especially Tetris series you mentioned. Oh, crap. Yeah, sometimes the physics are weird, so that's what's going to happen with me. But I do have 100,000 points, so if I get a game over, I'll have it continue. So we should be in good shape. But yeah, at some point I definitely want to get more into puzzle stuff. Although, and again, I've been mentioning that pretty much all night and pretty often, which is, hey, I want to get to stuff. But we got a lot of Super Game Saturday shows we can do, and I do like doing the ones you want to see and mixing in with some of the ones I want to do. And I know for sure... Okay, that was close. There are a couple, like, anniversaries of games coming up next year that I do want to get to close around the time when they happen. Alright, I'm not going up the top door. If you don't go to the top door, the only difference is you get to play the bonus game. If you go to the top, if you go to the bottom, just go to the next level. Yeah, at least once a month for next year. Along with, because it's going to be the Zelda thing, the RPG we're doing, which are still on Kingdom Hearts is now. Careful of the spiders. And then the other 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on the month, At least one of those is going to be viewer request. I will definitely say that. And I have the massive master list of stuff that's been coming up on the shows and been mentioned. So I'll figure that out, and I'll see what I can do on 3DS. I mean, as I said, it's going to be a matter of getting that streaming equipment, which costs a bit of money, and also getting a sense of how to stream it. Actually, okay, there's one other thing as far as portable, I guess I should mention, which is PSP. I don't have PSP yet, but as I mentioned, I downloaded a game off PS3 from PSP for cost reason, well, being cheaper as it is. And in that case, we can do PSP, but I just need to buy one. Specifically buy a 2000 or 3000 unit, because those are the ones you can connect with composite cables, and then I can put that into the Retron, or the RetroTink 5X. I'm thinking Retron 5 and the RetroTink 5X. I can put it in the RetroTink 5X and run PSP no problem that way. So yeah, definitely a good case of that. Oh, and I guess while we're going, let me know any other memories you have of this game, other Mario Land games, and other portable games as well, because in my case, I've mentioned this maybe a little bit, but when it's come to the portable stuff, in my case, I was Game Gear for a while there, and then it was Game Boy Color, and then I was playing a lot of that. So that's kind of where my portable gaming really lied, and then eventually with DS and 3DS, although with both of those, I got those a bit later. But when I did, I definitely had a good time with that. Alright. I love the spooky music, and it goes to that idea like the 8-bit chiptune music, which I guess let's get to this as far as the sound for the Game Boy. It has similar aspects of how the NES was, especially if you compare games that were on NES and Game Boy. But, yeah, there definitely was an interesting sound to that. Oh, okay, that was close. I thought I was going to get shot in the face. Oh, okay. Alright. Oh, no! Yeah, it's a little weird with the color here, based on how I have it. Oh. Okay, I missed the jump. Yeah, sometimes it's very specific, but it's fine. Wait, I thought there's a boss here. Then again, I didn't play up this far in the test playthrough. Oh, we got another section, right. Oh, alright. Yeah, that constantly was happening when I was first playing this game. I think because of the way the jump momentum, it is different than, like, Super Mario Brothers. So that's something you have to kind of get used to, but I think when you do... Oh, no! In that case, be careful when I make that jump. It's not too bad. And also, the other thing is you fall very fast. You're seeing right there. I kind of fell like a rock, almost. As long as it's like Mega Man in Mega Man 1. Okay, good. And there is a way to go in that pipe, I think. Yeah, there's... Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we hit the jackpot. Yeah, all the lives I can get is good for this. Actually, I don't know if I've ever gotten this many ever playing this game. So, hey, I'll take it. Alright, some of these blocks do have hidden things, but I don't remember what they are. Because honestly, as I mentioned, this is not really... Of all the Super Mario Land games, this one's not really my forte. Whoa, go the other direction. Mine more is going to be when we do Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. Which, it's not... Okay, it's sort of a Super Mario Land game in the sense that it's canonically connected, but you don't play as Mario. You play as Wario. It's like, hey, I want my revenge sort of after Mario Land 2, but I want to get treasure to get my own castle, because, like, hey, Mario kicked me out of mine. Definitely an interesting case, and definitely want to do more stuff with Wario eventually, too. Alright, I guess this is also one of the few bonus rooms I can die in, so let's try and avoid that. But can I make that jump up? Yes, I think... Okay, alright, it does the Super Mario Bros. 2 Famicom take, which is that you have to hit the hidden block. And this part, with you falling really fast, it makes it a little harder, so you have to time it just right. Actually, being small is a little advantageous here. Alright. Also, one other thing I guess I haven't shown as much, because I haven't died as much as I thought I would. You have more checkpoints in the stages here compared to Super Mario Bros. Itself, where you only had one. Also, like Super Mario Bros., you can't go backwards as you go on with the level. And yeah, I can ride on the top of that rock, but if I hit it, I'm going to die, so I don't want to do that. Just wait for the mushroom to come back. There you go, got it. Alright, I wonder if we got flour on one of these. Yeah, most of the blocks have coins, but either way, it'll still help with my points. Uh-oh. Right, this is a boss whose name I don't know off the top of my head, but I know you have to... Fine, go through him. Jump on the rocks to get him. That was, Hiohoi. Alright. So there we go. Actually, I'm making really good time on this, which is also why We are on the last world. So yeah, already, like last week with Fatal Frame, but more already. But what we're going to do is we're going to do the expert mode. Because you beat the game, you go through the expert mode, or you unlock that. So I think we're going to run that. Because, like, yeah, I'm not giving you a show that's only, like, 45 minutes. I'm not going to do that. I mean, sometimes we'll have shows that run shorter times than others, but I'm not going to shortchange it that way. Alright, perfect. We got 2 lives, and lastly, we are at Chai. Yeah, we're in the kind of, I guess, Asian-flared, I guess, world as it is, with a lot of, kind of dancing spirits. I believe that's the, idea. Yeah, right here. I think the enemies here, the names of whom escape me, they are based on, I think, like, it's kind of a tie on Japanese witchcraft, I believe. In fact, in a lot of ways, when we really think about it, along with this having this otherworldly feel, the other Mario games, this is probably the most Japanese-fueled one when you really think about what hit me. I didn't see what hit me, but alright, fine, you let him go. By the way, when you kill those things down there, or jump on them, nothing happens. You have to kill them with the Super Ball, but I do not have one. Yeah, and that way it kind of leans into its Japanese, you know, cultural roots the most, but I like that. I kind of like the idea of it looking that way. And kind of having that flair of, I mean, I guess when you really think about it, Mario as a franchise is an interesting case of, like, a culture clash in the sense of, okay, Mario is supposed to be an Italian plumber from Brooklyn, as the game said, but we're in this, you know, Japanese-fueled world here. Although in this case, we're Sarasaland, so there's also the other perspective. I like that, too. Yeah, and it makes it unique. Even, in fact, actually, I guess, now that I think about it, correct me, Chad, if this is not right, or if you can think of other cases of this, some other Mario games that really go into alternate worlds as far as kind of playing with that, I guess, that real world thing. I mean, I guess there's Mario's Missing and Mario's Time Machine, which are edutainment games, where he's going to New York in the case of the Mario's Missing and other things. And I guess, sort of, to a different degree, something like Mario and Rabbids from Ubisoft, where you're kind of going into this fantasy world with the Rabbids from the Rayman Raving Rabbids game. So I should probably look at a couple of those. The Raving Rabbids games, and then also that Mario and Rabbids game as well. Basically XCOM if you mixed it with Mario, so it's like a strategy game. But it also has enough otherworldly feel. I guess also Super Mario Galaxy and Odyssey as well. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, so you agree then, like that style. Alright, I'm just gonna wait for this. Also, one thing I will say about this compared to Super Mario Brothers, your time goes down a lot slower in this. So it says 400 seconds. You're gonna have definitely enough time to manage that. Alright, ooh. Okay, in that case, yeah, she clicked right through the pipe. Alright, okay, now we have Super Ball, so these things are gonna die when I hit them with it. Yeah, but you have to hit them with Super Ball, otherwise they are gonna just be stunned. Oh, shit! Yeah, that's what happens a lot when I play, but, as I mentioned, I'm doing way better on this than I thought. And it's interesting, when I was doing test playthrough on this earlier, I was thinking I was doing really badly. As I mentioned, I also had a scare on my audio. I want to make sure you're all gonna get stereo sound out of this, but thankfully you are now with the switch of HDMI cables. Actually, it's interesting because for this, I keep doing that. I keep hitting that jump there. But yeah, I basically used a mix of different HDMI cables than I usually have for this. I actually took the one from my Wii U and from my old Xbox One, and those are the ones that have worked well. All right. This definitely is bringing me back, as I said, even though I didn't exactly grow up playing this game, I definitely get the idea of that and also the appeal of the nostalgia of it. Because, I mean, even at the time, I knew Game Boy was around. I knew people had Game Boy. I was very happy as a Game Gear with some of the stuff I had for it, and have for it still. But, okay, good, perfect. And like the other Mario games, if you're running, you can go across the one-block gaps like that. But it definitely brings me back to that feel of what was it like to be on a car ride or in an airplane ride or something with a portable unit. Alright, okay, got one life, so there you go. I mean, you're at least guaranteed to get something out of this, which is nice. Alright, so here's 4-2. Also, there is a pipe here, I believe, that gives you massive coins. And I want to find it. Oh. And I mean, I guess one other thing I want to go back to is, Swiffers, when you said, hey, I want to see this because I don't think it's being represented, that was an interesting case when I really thought about it. I remember excited about seeing the Game Gear. Yeah, the Sega system, and I'll go into the, what I was going to mention. Yeah, because that was my case as well. I mean, that was the other thing with Game Boy and Game Gear. In some ways, I guess how Sega managed or marketed it was saying, like, hey, the Game Boy is in black and white or green and black. Game Gear's in color, which looked really nice, but it also had an effect on batteries, whereas the Game Boy ran about 10, 15 on 4 AA's. It was 6 AA's on Game Gear for 5 hours. So yeah, you were definitely paying a lot for that. And that was back when battery prices weren't even as high as they could be now. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, the AC adapter and battery pack for Game Gear would be your best friend that way. So yeah, I get the excitement of that. I get to go back to the thing with the portable thing. When Sweepers, you're saying we're going to do this and wanted to see this, you said, this doesn't seem represented much. And that was surprising when you really think about it. Oh, all right, yeah, I got to be a little more careful. But yeah, this is where things are getting a little harder because you're in tight quarters. And because I'm small, I can't go the top route, break those blocks to go the tight route, or top route. But yeah, it was interesting to think the idea that these games are not, seem to be, I don't know if these games are necessarily forgotten exactly so much as the kind of thing that, I guess people maybe don't remember them as much, or the thought of, okay, yeah, I got that, and then just got hit right away. Yeah, you have these spinning orbs. Yeah, if you're a Super Mario Brothers 3 player, you're going to notice those. But yeah, I mean, I guess that idea of, do people... Oh, they go away when you die. Okay, so yeah, the game didn't load them. So I guess it's a little fair that way, anyway. Or they didn't load the ones right there. But I mean, I guess that's the interesting thing. Like, is Game Boy really remembered as much? Because actually, Nintendo hasn't done anything with the Game Boy name, really, since... Well, the DS was the last time that we saw it, because when the Game Boy Advance was still around. The Game Gear was the Energy Vampire. Yeah, it was. I can attest to that. As someone who grew up with Game Gear, that's true, but that's also why God invented, or Sega invented, the AC adapter. You plug that in the wall and run the battery pack. You charge that up overnight before you go on a trip, and you have 8 hours of charge to run that way. But yeah, it was. Seeing the blinking on that Game Gear screen, like, oh, you're running out. Although, I think part of the reason also is because, well, the backlit screen, which Nintendo didn't have backlighting, I think, on any portable system of theirs at all. I mean, they did front lighting with the Game Boy Advance SP, which is the first time they had lighting. But, yeah, it definitely was sucking battery up, but also because the Game Gear, for all intents and purposes, is kind of like a portable take on the Sega Master System. In fact, there's an accessory for it that lets you play Sega Master System games on it. At least the cartridge stuff, because there was also card stuff for the Sega Masters. It was. Okay, good. Got through that. But it definitely did suck the batteries up, but it was a lot of fun still. Although it definitely is a different case, and Game Boy sold a lot better. I never knew until after purchased it. Oh, you bought one. Okay, so you have familiarity with that. Although, then again, because that was not the only portable gaming system in town for color stuff. Alright, now we're in the Sky Pop. I just think like the mix of Sky Kid and Toy Pop of Namco's. Fitting, I guess, the Sky Kid perspective, because we're in a plane flying to this really happy music and shooting down the enemies. And there will be items in some of these, so I want to at least try and shoot as many as I can, but we have 15 lives. I think we're going to be okay. I bought it as a gift for someone. Oh, okay, so there you go. I get that perspective as well. And I bet people who received that were probably pretty happy. I mean, I guess in some cases then they have to adjust as far as what it's going to do with... oh, right, the light went off screen. Adjust with the battery thing, although... Then again, I mean, okay, it's one of two things, really, when we think about it, between Game Boy and Game Gear. On one hand, you got better battery power on Game Boy, but you also needed lights to connect to it. And that was that way with Game Boy Color, and even Game Boy Advance as well, to have that perspective. Oh, cool. Yeah, it definitely is a cool case to that as well, you know? And also the idea of being there for something like this, because I guess I was sort of there for the Game Boy as it was. Although in my case, I was playing Game Gear. Although, that being said, I still did play some stuff on Game Boy at the time, because I knew friends who had it. And they had other games. I played stuff like some of the Donkey Kong Land games, and Kirby's Block Ball, and Wario Land as it was. So in that case, I had that perspective, so I knew about what it was, but I think in my case it was also the Sega perspective, like, hey, I liked having the Sonic stuff. But then on Game Boy, you had a lot of things, and, well, let's be honest here, Game Boy did outsell Game Gear and Atari Lynx, which is the other portable system with a color display. So it also has tons of coins in here. But you also have a tight corridor there. If you get crushed there, you're gonna die, so careful. Yeah, in that case, because I was Game Gear for a while, and then I got Game Boy Color, and then that's kind of where I sort of didn't look back, although at that point the Game Gear was done. It was 1997 was the last game released on the Game Boy, or Game Gear. And Game Boy was around for a while, and Game Boy Color kind of extended the life before the Game Boy Advance and then the DS. Definitely a lot of good stuff for portables elements, and I think also one of those at the time as well with Game Boy Color, along with the stuff I had at the launch of it, like Link's Awakening, and actually I bought Wave Race for the Game Boy, but I have to buy it again. Alright, here's the first boss. There's two of them here. It's this cloud guy whose name I have written down, but I don't remember off my head. Alright, it is Biokinton. When you defeat Biokinton by shooting him, here's the big baddie, Tatanga. I love Kirby's Block Ball. Yeah, that was another underrated one. It's basically, for those who might not be familiar with it, it's basically... Okay, I got him. Okay. So, yeah, within 35 minutes, we're done with this game, but we're not done with the game. We're not done with the show. We shoot him down. Here we go. We got a Daisy. But yeah, Kirby's Block Ball is basically, it's Breakout, like the old Atari game with Kirby. But it has this great styling to it. Even the idea of pressing, like, the button to kind of have the launching. Your quest is over. No, it's not. Okay, it's over for the main story, but we got another thing we're going to be doing. Yeah, I told you this game was short. But then again, that's also the idea of this, because you could beat this game in under an hour. Actually, barely over half an hour. So in that way, this is the record holder right now of games being beaten on this program. But the good news, and this is the other perspective of this, is that the people who made this, including the late, great Gunpei Yokoi, who also would make the Virtual Boy, and then also started work on the Wonder Swan before he unfortunately died in a pretty tragic way in 1997 from being hit by a car. I believe he was on the side of the highway doing a tire repair or something. And I think that's the reason why you have those laws nowadays, where it's like, go to the side of a lane or something, because, yeah, he was 56, and it was really tragic to that. But he was a very smart... Oh my, very sad. Absolutely it was. And I remember when that happened at the time, it was like, that sent shockwaves, I think, across the industry, because also, he was like the head of the Virtual Boy, which is, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that. I remember the Virtual Boy, yeah, but, which was an interesting system, but it was one that did not sell well for Nintendo at all, but it has some great stuff on it, including the Wario Land game, which he made, and also Mario's Tennis, and Teller Boxer, which is another terrific game, but it was a very unique thing, but it was also something that didn't really catch on with people, and also the idea is that for children, in a lot of ways, it was something that said, like, hey, the red and black display of it, it's something you don't necessarily want to have your kids playing if they're under 7, but in that case, so maybe that was part of it, and the thought was like, hey, is it going to be a portable system, but no, not really. But yeah, Gunpei Yokoi and a lot of people who are working on this game were very smart developers, as far as they did, especially for a game like this. You're thinking like, well, hey, we beat this game in like 35 minutes, but there's more value to this. I think that's the other benefit of something like this. They give you more stuff to offer. And also on top of this, what we're also going to do is we're going to change the Super Game Boy display. But yeah, that is this game. Yeah, when you have that, you get the Mario head there. I played Virtual Boy on my Quest 2. Yeah, because I know they probably do like a lot of emulation for that. Alright, we should start. Alright, I was going to pause this and hit L and R, because I want to go to show another display. In fact, you know what? I was going to show the old... okay, a couple of these things. I was going to show the old Game Boy element, but you know what we're going to do? Because we're talking Virtual Boy. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play this game like Virtual Boy. Yeah, because you have an option in here to basically change the color palettes for the game. So let's do that. Let's take... Okay, no, not... Okay, yeah, I don't want to go that way. Alright, so you know what? Let's clear this out, because it's kind of like Mario Paint. Yeah. Alright, it definitely is an interesting case, and you could play around with this, and also that password up there. You put that in. Okay, no. I want to try and figure out where I gotta go for this, because you have 4 color palettes. Alright, so there's the back, and then I want to put a little bit of red, and then maybe some red there, and oh, okay. Let's put black here. Okay, that's a little worse. Okay. Yeah, see, this is fun. It's all right. Yeah, we're not gonna do. Okay, that's not gonna be so hot because we can't even see the indicators. But well, well, we have other colors as well. We can do that. You know, let's try another shade of red. Okay, that's on Mario. Actually, you know what? That probably is the better look. Yeah, that's probably gonna be the better look for it. Okay, I'll look that way. Okay, let's do it. All right. All right. So yeah, okay. This is unexpected as far as how we're gonna go. But all right, let's see. Because I just want to make sure I can see the text up there correctly. Okay, that's not. Okay, that's there. It's all black. Yeah, because remember the Virtual Boy was written black. So you know we'll get as much of a close perspective as we can. Okay, no, not that. The Virtual Boy has its time of virtual reality. That's true, and in fact, that's another thing. As long as I'm, messing around with the colors, trying to get this to look like Virtual Boy. Let's talk Virtual Boy for some aspects. All right, that's a little better. Okay, no, that's not right. It's because that was interesting because virtual reality was the perspective of that game, although it's kind of playing more with 3D perspectives. So in that case, it was something that you were handling that specifically. But nowadays we have it a lot. We're using VR at my college for nursing program. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. So remember that was 1995 when the game or the Virtual Boy came out. And it was a system that was ahead of its time with a lot of things, but also something that... Because here's the thing. I don't know... okay, Sweet First, you mentioned you've used, I guess, the Quest 2, which I think... Was that an emulation for that? Okay, there we go. But I do want to get the background a little bit of a black more. Okay, no. Cool, tell me more. Yeah, it definitely is... Yeah, definitely tell me more. I definitely want to hear that, too. Okay, no, I think... Yeah, we're gonna go the paler red to a degree case. Yeah, while you do tell me more for all of you Grease fans. Let's see. You do have that black. You know what? This is close enough. And also, as I was mentioning here, you have passwords. So you put that in, you turn the console off, you can put in to what it is. Okay, so let's do this. Perfect. All right, we're playing at Virtual Boy mode. There's software program scenarios that run this. Okay. Alright, so, okay, here we go. Perfect. We're doing the hard mode in Virtual Boy view. So, yeah, Super Mario Land was not on Virtual Boy. There was Mario Clash, which is a remake of Mario Brothers, which is by the same people who made this. So, sort of close. Wow, yeah, definitely a unique case. Actually, you know what? Let me do one other thing. Let's change the border. Yeah, we have the Game Boy look. We also have the completely black... You know what? That might be the way to go, but I'll show the other ones as well, just for the purpose of this, so we can have more fun. Get more stuff. Cool. We got the MC Escher look. You have the, I think, Erase look. Oh, no. Okay, no, that's not the Erase look. That's like the artist look. This is, you can do a custom border around the picture, and you basically paint anything you want. You can save that as well. Or okay, you can't save it. You can put it, okay, you can't save the custom drawing. You can save the color palette. So in that case, it does give you a lot of options, even though this is a game that came out before the Super Game Boy did. That was 1994, I believe. So you have, like, the little Kit Kats around there, the movie look, or the theater look, the, I guess, Abe Lincoln's Cabin, or, like, the rustic look, the dartboard, corkboard look, so it's like Kirby Superstar, like, a year before that game came out, or, no, 2 years before that game came out. The windows, and then, yeah, we're going to go the full... black look of this, because, hey, we're doing Virtual Boy. Because, hey, if you're playing Virtual Boy, you would be looking into the goggles of it. You'd have the way the goggles are shaped, so that it's kind of curving your view, so you're not seeing anything but the game. Red LEDs were cheaper, which is why they were used for the Virtual Boy. Yeah, and I think that was also one of the things about the Virtual Boy, which is that people were surprised, I think, and I guess, maybe I didn't put a whole lot of thought in it when I played it at the time, just thinking... Well, okay, I would think maybe it's in color, because for years people say, like, oh, the Game Boy is in color, and they released this the year before the Virtual Boy did. And it's like, okay, we're adding color to Game Boy this way, but then Virtual Boy is like, hey, you have the boy name, as far as how it was. Uh-oh, so I got hit, but still have the, sorry, by the way, when you're on the hard mode for this, you have more enemies, and I think they changed the placements of them. Yeah, with the star, yeah, we're gonna use our, Jock Offenbach to, destroy him, and go underneath that. But yeah, I think that was maybe the surprise of people. I don't know if that was the reason why people put off. Also, you can jump off the screen, by the way, for the purpose of that. So, yeah, there you go. Playing those games on Quest is so much fun. And that goes to something interesting with the Virtual Boy, because you think, okay, this is not perfect, because we're not seeing where the flower is over there. But, yeah, we're making it work close. It only sold 770,000 copies, or units, as far as the system, and I guess the games as well. Actually, it's interesting nowadays... Maybe the advent of, virtual reality. The systems, they're not super expensive, but they are up there. I've seen them for about a couple $100 now, which is about a little more than what they ran for. I think it was like 150, 70, I think, when they initially came out. But I think people are really curious to see this, and it's one of those things I almost wonder, I don't know if Nintendo would ever do this. I'd like to see them maybe go back to Virtual Boy, because there are not many games on Virtual Boy. There are only about 13 in the US, and there are a couple more that Japan had. Including, let's see, you're right, not as expensive for VR anymore. Okay, so basically the idea of the proliferation costs, because now we have stuff like the Oculus Quest 2, and Sweet, as you mentioned, having one of those, to really go into that idea of getting that full, immersive experience. But yeah, actually, to go back to something Sweet was mentioning, I know you're a big one on Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. Actually, the Virtual Boy has the first indication of that franchise in the US, and that's what we use. Okay, so you use the Oculus stuff for the purpose of that. But yeah, the first indication in the US of Shin Megami Tensei was on Virtual Boy, and I got a game over, that's fine. At least it shows what happens when you get game over. Yeah, the Oculus, I get that. But yeah, on Virtual Boy, I don't know if you're familiar with this game, Jack Brothers, which has Jack from Shin Megami Tensei in it. And it is actually the rarest game on the Virtual Boy from what I understand. It's a fortune, especially if you get the US version. But good news also is that, like a lot of the portable systems, actually up until 3DS, the Virtual Boy is region-free, so you can get a game from another region, play it on your Virtual Boy, no problem. Same with Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Advance and DS. 3DS is where they instituted region walking. Yeah, Jack Brothers is actually, it wasn't an RPG really. From what I understand, it was it was kind of like a top-down dungeon crawler to a certain extent. It's kind of like Gauntlet from what I've seen of it. I remember when it came out, there was also like some perspectives as far as, okay, I just went through that block. That was weird. But, okay, it died, unfortunately. Virtual Boy went down, sold for $179 when it came out in 1995, and when the year went down to $99. Yeah, I think because of the way the sales were going. I remember actually at the time when 3DS first came out, there was the thought that that was happening with 3DS, because 3DS was not selling well initially, but then they kind of reversed, or dropped the price on it, and then more games came out that people really, really wanted to have. Yikes. Yeah, and I think that's also the idea that technically it is seen as the worst selling system of Nintendo's, and I guess the next one after that would probably be the Wii U, but here's the other thing about that, and this is the benefit of talking about this stuff on the show, is that you'd think that with, like, bad sales, you'd think, like, that means this is a terrible system. But no, not really. I mean, I think the tech was there, and that was interesting, but I think maybe it wasn't ready for it, and I'd like to see Nintendo perhaps come back to this, or, I mean, I guess, maybe we should kind of get into this, because I didn't mention this last week, I probably should have. The idea of the Switch Online expansion pack releasing, which I did get. And there was also a discussion about the fact that maybe they're going to do Game Boy stuff for it, but so far they haven't said it. But yeah, maybe the thought of they could do that for this, although I don't know if Nintendo really wants to go back. There's a thing like, hey, this is going to remind people of something not good in their history, or is it going to be something that they're going to say, like, well, it's too limiting because we only have about, like, 17 games total, and that includes Japan, as far as that. But there are some unique experiences on that system, especially the Wario Land game. That game is amazing. And especially stuff like Teller a Boxer, where it's basically Punch-Out with a, first-person perspective, and it's really immersive. Even to the point where I kind of wish people would be able to play more of it. Actually, I think I was at MagFest a couple years ago, and they had it set up in, like, their, like, video game museum, and I said to people, you never played this thing, you have to, like, play it and just see what the experience is like. It's now selling for $350 on eBay. Oh, wow, okay, I didn't know it went up that high. I mean, I guess that's the other question, which is as far as this show, because here's the thing about the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy is a all-in-one unit as far as, like, being contained. I don't know if there was a way to even output for it specifically as far as, streaming perspective. That's sad. Yeah, I mean, it is sad as far as the idea of, people not being able to have access to it. And going back to Gunpei Yokoi, and this was, I think, what made his death such a shocking case with people. Alright, fine. It doesn't matter I'm getting game over, because we beat the game already once. And we keep the discussion going. We'll see how this goes. This is how I usually play this, like, dying constantly. And hey, it is the harder mode, so it makes sense. But I think that's also the thing with Gunpei Yokoi, is that the Virtual Boy was his baby. It was his brain trust. His idea of, hey, I want to do this. And what happened with that was that after it failed, the Nintendo 64 was on the way. And what happened with Nintendo on that is that they didn't, fire him specifically. They didn't, reprimand him exactly, but what they did is they gave him, and I'm going to credit the G4 Icons show for this, because they did an episode on, I think it was on Gunpei Yokoi, or it was on the Game Boy. It was on something. I'll put a correction on what it was. But basically the idea is that they basically gave him what they call a window seat, which is basically they're giving him projects that basically aren't going to go anywhere. I think he was doing some development for some stuff, for some games that did come out, and he did also get a special thanks in the credits for a couple things. In fact, I think one of them was a game I want to play and get back to, because I played it for the very first Super Old Game Saturday show I ever did, but I didn't have an official perspective, and I don't have the recording for it. Tetris Attack. You see that in the credits that, hey, he had his name in there for that. So the other projects he was doing, and then actually after that he went to Bandai and he was working on the Wonder Swan Color, or the Wonder Swan and then the Wonder Swan Color, which is a portable unit that they made, which is a very niche thing, and also another one that's really expensive, but something that I heard was actually a really nice unit. We never got it around here, but that was kind of what he was doing for the rest of his life, while Nintendo then moved on to the N64, which had more success, although it still was also a case where it was being in competition with the PlayStation as far as how it was. But the thing with the Virtual Boy is that it had a lot of unique things, and it had a lot of potential. It's something that, I guess, clearly we're seeing it now, as far as other companies that aren't Nintendo. But, yeah, you sometimes wish maybe Nintendo would take a shot at that, or as I mentioned, the Nintendo Switch Online, if they could do that, because, hey, I think I may as well mention this, because I guess maybe, so we've talked about this thing for a couple weeks now, but now that I have the thing in my hands, yeah, because Gunpei Yokoi designed the original Game Boy, yeah, and this game was one of them. In fact, I think he worked on every launch title for the system, I think, or had some kind of hand in it. But, yeah, because let's talk about that Nintendo Switch Online. It's amazing for the Genesis stuff. The emulation on that is spot on, and in fact, on all those games, that is the best way to play pretty much all of them, with the exception of maybe one or two, because there's some other releases that are also terrific. But the N64 emulation is kind of a train wreck, with button lag and other problems with how it runs. Especially Yoshi's Story. Yoshi's Story, they have constant frame rate drops. There's something with the way that emulator works. And that's weird because they used the same emulator that was on the Super Mario 3D All-Stars that came out last year. So at some point, they're going to have to patch that. I think they know they're going to have to patch that. I guess feasibly the other thing is maybe eventually they might be looking at the criticism that came of that, and it was a firestorm, especially after it came out and said, like, hey, what's wrong with this stuff? Because we mentioned the cost before, and whether people think it's too much or not. I think it's not too much only because of the cost of the original games, and then also goes to the perspective of, hey, you don't actually own it for this, number one. And number two, you're like, well, maybe you want more, like, compared to what Microsoft and Sony give. After he died, he was given a Lifetime Achievement Award for Gunpei Yokoi. Yeah, and given what he was doing with the Game Boy, you know, even with the Virtual Boy, I understand that. And I completely get that. And it's funny, because, Dolphin, I know you mentioned sometimes before, and this is also what I said at the beginning of the show, this is one of the rare Nintendo or Mario games. Shigeru Miyamoto did not work on this one. He was hands-off on this pretty significantly. I think he understood that the vision that Gunpei Yokoi had as a developer, as a director, as a producer, on all the stuff he worked on. As mentioned, he did Metroid and he did Kid Icarus especially. And you know, Metroid, we're seeing like the fruits of that labor still going with Metroid Dread that came out about a month ago. But yeah, clearly, Gunpei Yokoi was one of the greats of this industry, and definitely an important voice for it, and someone who, give him this much, even though the Virtual Boy did not take off, even though it was, you know, ahead of its time, he had the gumption to say, you know, I want this different perspective to this, and say, like, I believe in this thing enough to take it to market, even though it didn't work. And sometimes you think about that, which is, I mean, maybe here's another idea. To try, yeah, to try, for sure, but I mean, and there's something to be said, like, yes, it was a failure as far as sales, but then again, you also think about, yeah, I mean, it also goes to the perspective, in some ways, of reflecting to Nintendo at that time that, yeah, we've said that sometimes maybe they're not taking as many risks nowadays, but back then, especially when he was involved, that was great. Game Boy was the ultimate tool. Yeah, and that's the other thing as well. Let's get into that, because think about this with the Game Boy, because the Game Boy, on top of being a portable system, it was something that had a lot of accessories and things that were made for it. And yeah, I'm already seeing where the hard mode is, because you have more of those Pharaoh dudes coming here as opposed to one. But yeah, there's like, and oh, more of those things. All right, run through and jump there. They're perfect. Because there were like attachments to the Game Boy for things like, I think there was an episode of the Angry Video Game Near the Win, and there's all these Game Boy accessories of things for, like, using it to be able to, I don't know, connect it to like a fax machine or something, like do taxes on it. Or another one, he said, basically using the Game Boy and connecting it to, I guess nursing was brought up. I'll go into this, and this is a real thing, I swear to God. A connection, you put it in, you give a child a Game Boy before they're going to go under for surgery, and it's able to give them, I guess, anesthesia for something like that. They have to have their, I don't know, like, have their, something removed specifically, or their appendix. Okay, let's go into that. It can survive bomb blasts. Yes, that's the other thing, and in fact, I remember in Nintendo Power, and I'll put a picture up of this to show this. Well, Nintendo Power is one thing. There was one, I believe it was, I think he was someone in the army who was in, Operation Desert Storm in Iraq in 1989, 1990. I think there was like a roadside bomb blast he was in. He survived, and the Game Boy looked like it was torched completely, but they were able to get it to work amazingly. And that's the other thing also that comes up with this, is that a lot of Nintendo stuff, especially the Game Boy, you get the sense that it can survive stuff like a bomb blast, it can survive something like, I think there was another issue in Nintendo Power, the 100th issue, where someone, like, his house burned down. And I think he still had his Game Boy, and it survived the fire, as far as, like, it catching fire and melting the plastic. But just the idea of that design element, and it's like how people, and the joke sometimes people make as far as Nintendo, calling it, Nintendium, as far as the idea that, hey, any Nintendo item you have usually is going to be very reliable in order to survive something. In fact, I'll tell my own story about Game Boy Advance, as it is. I was on a vacation with my brother. We were doing crabbing, and he has a net, as far as doing that. Because basically the idea is, when you do crabbing, if you've ever done it, which is a great thing to do, you get a net, you get a cage, and you have an open on that, and when you pull it up out of the water, you open it so the crab comes out, but you have your net there so you can catch him. Yeah, he dropped the net into the water. I saw it sinking. I said to myself, I have to get this, otherwise, like, that's gonna be a problem. As it was sinking down, I just jumped into the bay on this, and my brother's saying, like, oh my god, I couldn't believe that I was doing this. And I had my Game Boy Advance, actually, in my, pocket. And it sort of survived. Okay, actually, in this case it didn't completely. Because what happened was that I was able to turn on, hours later, it worked, because I had Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga in there. That still works no problem. The system itself, I think what happened was that it got, I don't know, like the algae from the bay got into it, so the D-pad, you had to press on it really hard, pretty much dent your thumb in order to play it. And then I was trying to figure out, what can I play without D-pad on Game Boy Advance? I was like, oh, I have WarioWare Twisted, which is perfect. But then years later, it doesn't work anymore. But in that case, it didn't survive, but for a while, it did. So like, hey, I can dive into that, but I was like, hey, that's nothing compared to it surviving a fire or a bomb blast. And the idea of the Game Boy being able to do that. And clearly Gunpei Yokoi thinking that, hey, people are going to be, you know, using something like this on the road. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen to it. But being set for that. Is there a best-selling game on the Game Boy? That depends on how you would count. Oh, here I'll go into this, because I was reading an article in Nintendo Life recently, because they're saying, like, hey, they're tracking what the best-selling games on the last couple of Nintendo systems are. The Wii, the Wii U, the DS, 3DS, and the Switch now. And with the Wii, technically the best-selling game on the Wii was Wii Sports. But that also is because the Wii had Wii Sports bundled in with the console. So, as far as Game Boy, this game was not bundled in with Game Boy, interesting enough. You think like, the Mario game is going to be bundled in after Super Mario Bros. Did so well on NES. No, it was Tetris. So you could say, like, Tetris maybe, but I don't know to that. I'll look to that. I'll put a edit on this, or chat if you know. Was it Tetris? It was. Okay. So, alright, yeah, in that case, that's the other thing. I don't have to put an edit on that. I would think maybe for that, because actually that came up. I was talking about someone as far as best-selling game on PlayStation, and it was Gran Turismo from Sony, the racing game of theirs. That's what I was thinking. I was guessing it too, but I mean, that also goes to the idea of, like, how do you count that? Do you count that if it came bundled in with the system or not, or is it something else? I think just because of the bundling case, Tetris would be it, although... And then this goes back to the idea of, you know, this game being weirdly forgotten. Maybe, I don't know. This game sold really well. I mean, clearly people wanted to play. stuff for any, like, Mario and stuff like that on this system, so it did really well. I love Tetris. Yeah, I love Tetris too. All the variances of Tetris, I got a bunch of them. I got old Tetris, I got Tetris 2 on Super Nintendo, I have Tetris Attack, as I mentioned, which I do want to play that again. I bought Tetris Sphere on Nintendo 64, Sweet First wanted to see that. At some point, we'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do a lot of those other ones, for sure. And I think maybe that was why they went with Tetris as the launch game. I gotta find where that block is. Oh, okay, so they changed for the hard mode where the block jump is. So basically just jump around. And Link's Awakening. That's another great one. Yeah, okay, there we go. So it's right there. Yeah, Link's Awakening, the Zelda game that was on the Game Boy, which is a terrific game. And they also then did that. They did it. Actually, 2 remakes, technically. They did Link's Awakening DX on Game Boy Color, and then they also did Link's Awakening on Switch. Both really good. And both worth showing off feasibly. The only thing with Link's Awakening DX, because I have that one as well, and the Switch game, I need to buy a new battery or have a battery replaced. Because that's one of the games I have with a save that does not work anymore. Weird enough, that one is like, yeah, that doesn't work, but I have stuff that's older than that. Alright, so now we're doing Virtual Boy submarine or space shooting as it is. So there you go. Yeah, I like this idea. I kind of like this. And I guess for this game, because it's as short as it is, I mean, I think we're kind of adding more value to it and more value to the show. Unfortunately, I missed the star for the purpose of that. But I do like that, and also the discussion of, I guess, in a lot of ways, this being an ode to a lot of things. An ode to the Game Boy, an ode to portable gaming, an ode to Gunpei Yokoi and Nintendo R&D 1, for sure. And in that case, just going back to the durability of something like this, just as a quick thing, that, yeah, there's something to be said about the fact that, hey, this thing can take a beating and still keep kicking. And in my case, like with Game Boy Color, I mean, the only case I really have, it's not really that interesting. I remember I dropped my Game Boy Color on the pavement, and I think the game I was playing was Pokemon Yellow version popped out. And Tetris Plus on PlayStation 1. Yeah, and which is on Game Boy as well, and also on Sega Saturn. I never played Tetris Plus. I remember that being an interesting one because, Tetris Plus was a case where it's like old Tetris, but you also have this mode where you have, like, this professor guy who's over, like, a spike pit that's coming down, and you have to save him from being crushed, or you play in 2-player mode, and you have to try and get combos and things, like Tetris combinations around, to get the other guy, or the other professor to get crushed to death. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely a weird case, but it is very cartoony and very, you know, nice and, pleasant. We could do Tetris Plus for sure. Actually, I would, if I can, I would like to do the Sega Saturn version if I can get a copy of that feasibly before. I don't think Tetris Plus cost a lot on Saturn. There was a puzzle mode that did that. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. I kind of want to do the Sega Saturn version because we haven't shown much of Sega Saturn, but also because, Sweet First, you got experience with it on PlayStation. I'd be very curious to get into something we've had a lot, which is, we'll play a game that's on systems that's different than what you might have played or what I do it. Yes, do it. Okay. You got it. I will definitely look for a copy of Tetris Plus. And the reason I'm mentioning Saturn is because it's a different version that people see. I know it does not cost a fortune. I believe it's pretty affordable, actually, for Saturn standards, which is a shock, because that's, because some of the games on Saturn go for thousands of dollars. Yeah, Magic Earth Ray Knight, which is the last game in the system, that's, over 1,000. There's Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is also really expensive, and other stuff as well. But also the other reason is because next week we are going to start, I mean, this fits perfectly with us doing Game Boy stuff this week to start, or I guess feasibly this way. Next week we're also going to have another system debut with Sega Saturn, and I finally have the tech I can use to show it off. We're going to be doing Sonic 3D Blast through that. Another rare case also of the Japanese version of a Saturn game costing more than the US, usually it's the other way around. But in that case, I'd also like to have another reason to show off Sega Saturn, and also, I guess, build a collection up as it is, because I know that's going to be, one, I have to be very specific on what I'm going to get, and also how. But, in some cases, I definitely want to do that. But alright, yeah, definitely, alright, that'll go in the pile as well. We'll definitely look at Tetris Plus, for sure. In that case, I love hearing that as well, and also like hearing whatever differences might be between it on PlayStation and Saturn that way. Is this the game Tetris Plus for the Sega Saturn? Yes. Actually, it is the, now that I think about it, thank you for bringing that up that way. it is the only Tetris game that is on the Saturn, because that was the period right after, or sort of right as, Amazon has it on the marketplace, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how much they're asking. Let me know if you're seeing how much they run, usually. But, to that, it was the only Tetris game that the Saturn had, but it was also right after Nintendo stopped having the rights to Tetris for everything. Because what happened was, Alexei Pajitnov, who made Tetris, he licensed with Nintendo initially. Oh, crap. I think I'm gonna get a game over. $15? Really? Oh my god. I'm surprised it's that cheap. I mean, I'm usually seeing stuff like, I'm looking there and seeing $14.99 or $14.99 to $50. Okay, not bad. But I'm seeing like that $14.99 there. Usually, I would see certain things where it'd be $14.99 without the decimal there. It's like $1,499 as Panzer Saga used. Yeah, which is the case for stuff on Saturn. I mean, I don't know how new stuff on Saturn. Ooh, yeah, let myself die. Although, at least me getting a game over this way lets me show the continue option because I have 100,000 points. When you have 100,000 points, you come here, you get to continue, hit start, you're back to the world we are in. It's an acceptable to very good condition. Okay, I mean, which is also a hard one for Saturn because, specifically for the US, because the Saturn, in Japan, the Saturn had games stored in jewel cases, like CDs, like how PlayStation ended up doing it. I would love to see Tetris 2, which needs more of. I have Tetris 2 on Super Nintendo. Which version are you familiar with? Because it's also on Game Boy and NES. That was, I think it was Bulletproof Software who made that one. At least on Super Nintendo they did. But yeah, I remember actually growing up with elements of Tetris 2, and in fact, I do have that on Super Nintendo. We can show that one off, too. Actually, what we could do is, since I have the RetroTink 5X, we could actually probably do, like, a bunch of puzzle games on the same system for that. Or actually even feasibly switch between as far as with Saturn and Super Nintendo. How did I miss that? I jumped on him. Alright, but yeah. A lot of great ideas and more puzzle stuff as well. I think I might potentially get another game over. I have it on Super Nintendo. Yeah, my case as well. Although, from what I've understood, it's pretty similar on NES and Game Boy. Actually, it came out on Game Boy and NES first, and then Super Nintendo got it the year after. And you're right, it is one that is not much remembered. And here's the other thing, because also Tetris 2, it kind of played like Dr. Mario. And here's the other thing about that, unfortunately, about it, which is that, okay, unfortunately in one case, because it's never getting re-released, because Nintendo has the right, or Nintendo made it, they don't have the rights to Tetris anymore, so they had to go to Alexei Pajitnov for it, and I got another game over. You know, we'll try again with the hard mode, because I have to start, unfortunately, from the beginning, but given how short this game is, you're seeing it, it's fine. And it goes into the discussion that way. Yes, they can't re-release it feasibly, but the good news is that Tetris 2 is not an expensive game. It's like 10, 15 bucks. I actually did buy that a couple years ago. I think like 5, 6 years ago. So, if you want to get it, it's not, if you don't have it, say, it's not one that's going to run you a lot, and that sometimes can be the case, because we mentioned this before, costs of classic gaming, especially if they're not available in certain ways, are you going to be able to find it for an affordable price? I mean, we're saying Tetris Plus and Tetris 2 run for something cheap, but I'm thinking like other puzzle games on Saturn, stuff like Baku Baku Animal, which is by Sega, which is quite a bit more. I mean, not massive, it's like 60, 70 bucks. That is a bit more. It's like, hey, in my case, I never played that one, so if I was curious, like, well, hey, I'd have to rationalize paying more feasibly or getting a Japanese copy where I think it's cheaper. And thank God I have a way to do Japanese games on Saturn that way. But yeah, in that case, that can be an interesting situation to that, but also something of how do you manage that with a cost. But yeah, hey, if nothing else, it's also, I guess, a guide in a certain way of getting, you know, classic gaming on a budget, saying like, hey, you can find things for cheap if you know what you want to get. And it's not going to be like, oh, everything that's amazing costs a fortune. Sometimes you can find some really great stuff for cheap. And even this game, too, to an extent. I mean, because, Sweetverse, you mentioned this is on Virtual Console 3DS for $4 or $5. But even a copy of this on the Game Boy does not cost that much. I'm seeing like 20, some cases 30, which is about how much it cost when it came out. So in that case, hey, if you want to get your classic gaming stuff on, you're lucky that way. But again, sometimes you'll run into cases where it costs more. I think in one game in particular that's that way as far as the Game Boy stuff. Mega Man 5, which is on 3DS Virtual Console. If you want it, get it there, because it's cheap. Way cheaper. Well, get it there, get the Japanese copy of it, because the US version is like, I think it's over $200. Although it is the only Mega Man Game Boy game that does have a specific enhancement palette for Super Game Boy. I think anytime we do a Game Boy game that has something like that, we're going to use this for it. And one of the examples of that is going to be Donkey Kong 94, which is a great game. That's going to be my personal, I want to show that game off, because I love that game to death. That's perhaps one of the best $4 I ever spent on a video game. It's terrific. Oh, I keep getting killed. Yeah, but this is the expert mode because they give you more enemies. But I'm getting lives and all that, so we're all good. Alright, I guess I'll think about this as far as, like, because we're talking Tetris a lot. I guess other variants of Tetris. I mentioned Tetris Attack, which is Panel to Pawn, as it's known for Japan, and then they changed the name here. Easily make it sell more, but then again, that's how I remember it too, because I grew up with Tetris Attack on Super Nintendo, and it was also on Game Boy as well. Which I think is like one of the only variances of that game I don't have. That and, Superfruits, you mentioned Superplexus on PC. I don't have that one yet. And when I do stuff for PC or figure that out, I definitely want to show that. Oh, maybe wait till the Switch port if they're going to do one. But we'll see how that goes. Ooh! Yeah, I'm trying to think... Yeah, as far as like the Tetris stuff, because there's Tetris itself, Tetris 2, Tetris Attack, as far as Game Boy is concerned. There's also... I never played this one. I don't know, chat, do you have familiar with this? And would you recommend it? Tetris Blast, which I don't remember really what was a take on that. There's also Wario Blast, which was something different. I think it was like a mix of Bomberman, weirdly enough. But, ooh. Okay, I gotta stop doing that. Yeah, but I mean, I guess in that case, they'll let me know anything else you're thinking as far as like portable gaming or puzzle gaming or any of the Mario Land stuff. I guess next time we do Mario Land, we're probably gonna do Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, because I have all three of these. So, on the Game Boy itself, so we can definitely run them, no problem. And hopefully, I guess, remind people of them to a degree, and I guess also see if maybe Nintendo will say, like, hey, let's add Game Boy stuff, because that would be great to have people be able to come back to some of the stuff. I mean, they're seeing that, for better or worse, with the Nintendo 64 stuff on the Switch Online, but it's like, hey, being able to kind of play some of these things, because I'll say this, because I came to Game Boy late. Like, when I got Game Boy Color, the first thing I was doing was going back to Game Boy games that I missed, and one of the first ones was Wario Land. I was like, well, okay, I loved that game, so I said, I want to buy that. But then kind of just digging out to find a couple other ones. I definitely have a couple things for the Game Boy that we can run, for sure. Oh, actually, by the way, I guess one thing I didn't show when we played first time, you come down here when you're small, there is a mushroom, and you do need that to get out of here. Alright, ooh. Oh. You'll see how far I can get on the expert mode, but if nothing else, I am liking this, and it is very relaxing, even though I'm dying a lot, although I think maybe it's because I beat the game already. Ooh. Alright, but at least I have to do this the hard way, which is, wait till he does that, run underneath him, you know, be quick, otherwise you're gonna die, but they do put the checkpoint right here. Ah. Also, I can just barely see the ball, the orb he's shooting out, although, not too bad. I mean, for Virtual Boy mode, I'm not doing this. And this wasn't official as far as this is what we came up with. Alright, whoa! Okay. Yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna die, probably. But if nothing else, I'll keep going, and we'll keep the chat going, because I'm liking this. I wish there was a sequel to Wario's Woods. Yeah, for NES game... Oh, okay, that was on Game Boy as well, and Super Nintendo. Weirdly enough, the Super Nintendo version... Okay, actually, none of them except the NES one got re-released. That was also a unique one as far as a puzzle game. Ooh! I just made it under him. Perfect. That's a great game as well. That's one I discovered late, actually, because of Animal Crossing on GameCube. Because you can unlock it in that game, and it's actually probably the best NES game that's in that. Also, unique puzzle game as far as, I guess, like, using bombs to kind of clear out enemies. What's your familiarity with it, Sweetverse? Is it... what version is it? Probably the NES version, or is it one of the other ones? Actually, okay, that's another one, because I really just remembered I had, or I have Yoshi's Cookie. I have that on Game Boy, which actually is the only version that came on the US with the 4-player mode. But there's not going to be much way I can show that, because I only have one copy Well, actually, there might be a way to do that. But, yeah, that's gonna take a perspective. Super Nintendo. Oh, okay, because I never played it on Super Nintendo. I played it on NES, so... Actually, also, interesting case about that on NES. That was the last, officially released game on NES from 1994. The last NES game period was... Well, okay, aside from, like, new games they do nowadays, was a game called Sunday Funday, which is by this, Christian company, Wisdom Tree. They came out in 1995. But yeah, I never played that Super Nintendo version. Oh, fortunately, it fell. It looked to me from what I saw that most of it was, I guess, the way it looked, but also I think it had a story mode kind of the way that Kirby's Avalanche did. To a degree, from what I saw, and the music and the way it looked was a bit different. That's also I don't think it costs a lot on Super Nintendo, so I'd be curious to show that off. And at some point, I think we'll do a night for Animal Crossing just to show off all those NES games that are in it. On top of everything else. Well, most of them. There's two I don't have because they're within Action Replay codes, but I have them elsewhere, which are Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda. But, yeah, it definitely would be an interesting one to take a look at. Alright, so here's the interesting thing about this game. Now I'm realizing, like, the game on screen is very repetitive because I'm going through the hard mode and dying constantly. But you know what? I don't think it matters, really, because honestly, the discussion. There is story mode. Yeah, which I think is exclusive to that version. On NES, it has, like, a Type A and Type B option for it. And I think it has a puzzle mode of sorts for it. But yeah, okay, in that case, that would be the unique justification for it on that way. And also, it would also be then the justification of, because this is something that, you know what, Sweetfirst, I did see your message on the Mega Man 7 play we did. Because it made me think of something. Actually, the first time you were on the show, you said to me about Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, saying they're basically the same on Game Gear and Genesis, no reason to do both, or cover both massively. I mean, we still looked at both, because it was like, please show it off. You got it, absolutely. I will definitely show it off. But it made me think of something, which is that, this is going to go into Sonic 3 Blast for next week a little bit, which is, when can we get away feasibly with showing off the same game more than once? And to go to what you're saying, I agree with everything you said as far as Mega Man 7. I love Mega Man 7 as well. I'm kind of surprised people don't tend to like that game, or I guess they sort of like it to some degree. And it was just a case doing it, but actually I think I have a rationalization to do it again because, or do a version of it again, because there's actually, when I figured PC stuff out, there's an 8-bit demake of that I think was fan-created. I guess it goes to people saying, like, hey, nowadays they want, like, an 8-bit style of that. So, in that case, I could show it off that way. But as far as Warriors Woods, we could show that Super Nintendo version off because of story mode, the NES one because of Animal Crossing, but then also with Sonic 3D Blast. We're doing Saturn next week for that. But I do want to show the Genesis version off, and I'm going to do that very specifically. That's going to be a way down the road case, but with Sonic 3D Blast, and this is interesting because I'll go on this more next week, but as a little bit of a primer, the guy who made that game, John Burton, who worked at Traveler's Tales, who developed that game, he did like a ROM hack that was basically fixing a lot of little things that were done with the game. He just did it on his own free time. And I think he has a YouTube channel that I'll put a link to in the description when this goes on the YouTube site in a couple days. Basically explaining how to do all these technological things. And that director's cut that he did, it has been printed to Genesis cartridges, and it has some interesting additions to it, including the addition of Supersonic, which the game itself does not have, including the one we're going to play next week. So in that case, I have a rationalization for Sonic 3D Blast to play it more than once. Mega Man 7, as I mentioned, because I'll look at that 8-bit demake, and then you can have the perspective of being in with Mega Man 7, we can go over memories of that again, and then also Warriors Woods. So, alright, I would definitely look at that. I don't think, here's the thing about, even though Warriors Woods has not been re-released, the Super Nintendo version, I don't think it costs a lot. It's another one like Tetris 2 that hasn't been released. But unlike Tetris 2, it's not that Nintendo can't re-release it. It's just that they choose not to. They always want to pick which one? They want to pick it on the NES. Have you ever played Krusty's Fun House? And I own Yoshi's Cookie both on Super Nintendo and NES. Alright, to field the first question first. I remember hearing about Krusty's Fun House, which is also a puzzle game of sorts. Kind of like it's kind of Lemmings from what I understand. I never played it. I don't know if it's any good. What's your experience with it, Dolly Finn? And to Sweet versus Element on Yoshi's Cookie, Yeah, it is on NES and Super Nintendo as well. I played a little bit of it on NES, sort of. I don't know if I played the Super Nintendo version. Game Boy is where I have it, and Game Boy, as I mentioned, is the only one that's a 4-player option for the US. It's the most underrated game by Acclaim. Really? Okay. That's an... Oh, what did you play it on? Because it's been on a couple things. It was on Game Boy, it was on Super Nintendo, it was on... I think it was on NES, it was on Sega Genesis, and I think it was on Game Gear as well. And that's an interesting case with Acclaim, because some cases we have, like, wait a second, were there games of Acclaim that were any good? And, well, there were, for sure. NES. Okay. I did not know that perspective, or I guess what people said about that, because I've heard sometimes mixed things on that, especially on games based on The Simpsons, and that would also give us more representation of The Simpsons, because I only have 2 games I can show, really, which are The Simpsons game on the Wii, and when I get the PC stuff figured, The Simpsons Virtual Springfield, which is kind of like a point-and-click game to a certain extent, but almost like a interaction stuff. So yeah, I'd definitely be curious to see that, because I've never played any version of that. That's The Simpsons bunch. Okay. And I know at the time that's like kind of slim pickings, and I know my personal experience, let's go into that with Simpsons at least. Okay, we played Simpsons sort of before for this channel because we have a little look at the demo of the Simpsons arcade game, which unfortunately you can't buy the downloadable version anymore. Though you can buy an arcade 1-up unit. But yeah, the only other experience I really have as far as Simpsons stuff, fine, of that era, really was, one of my cousins had, The Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants, which I really didn't like. And then there was also, of that era, that was it. I mean, and then on the Xbox, PlayStation, and GameCube, I played The Simpsons Road Rage, which is their ripoff of Crazy Taxi, so much so that Sega took them to court, and they settled out of court to get a bit of a payout for that. And then The Simpsons Hit and Run, which is a knockoff of Grand Theft Auto, but was also quite good, but buggy. I will say that for sure. So yeah, in that case, good Simpsons games from that era as well, especially on NES, where, like, hey, you have stuff like Bart vs. Space Mutants was on that. Well, I think it was better on NES, from what I understand, than it was on Genesis. And then Bart vs. the World, amongst other stuff. I think there was also Bart versus Radioactive Man, which I never played that one, but I heard it wasn't very good either. Yeah, alright, I'll definitely look into that. And also an interesting puzzle case, and I guess one as far as the idea of, like, guiding characters away from stuff. Alright, so thank you for the suggestions. I'm definitely getting a lot of good suggestions, and I guess I'm giving you a good show as far as that discussion point, along with the idea of, I guess, there being this Super Mario Land game with a Virtual Boy look going on in the background. But in some ways, I'll go into this at least as well as I keep trying. I think you'll like it. Okay, I will take that into account, and that'll probably go into the viewer request pile. As I said, next year, at least once a month, probably more, I'll probably do more than once a month. I'll pull out stuff you want to see for the purpose of that. Alright, so yeah, I'll definitely give a shot to some of these things, but I just kind of like this idea. I've realized, going back to some of the streams I've been doing, also when I've had to edit them, I've kind of liked the ones that really have kind of gotten into a lot of these discussions, because as I mentioned, that's kind of been what I'm realizing, and thanks to chat for that, for really helping me understand that, what I want this show to be, which is this kind of discussion program, while also showing the games you want to see as well. And I like that as well, and it also helps for a game like this where, okay, I'm constantly dying, so I get to distract you from that perspective, but also because of other stuff. How about The Simpsons Wrestling? Yeah, I know the stories on The Simpsons Wrestling. Yes, we could do Simpsons Wrestling. I know it's supposed to be horrible, but that has not stopped me before. That's like the Bad Game Thursday concept. That's one I probably would have to talk to my coworkers about, see what they think about it, because it's... Yeah, that was a weird one. That came out on the PlayStation 1 in 2001, which was right after the Dreamcast came out, and right after the PS2 came out. It was very weird as far as the idea. It's like a 3D fighting game, but not so much... Okay, it's sort of wrestling, a little, because you have to pin everybody, but it also has elements, from what I understand, of balancing cases being really off, and it looking really weird, almost looking in a weird way like something bootlegged, which is very strange as far as that. And that was, I guess, the idea of, like, the potential dark ages of Simpsons games, although Krusty's Funhouse, as you're mentioning, That's one that, from what I understand, of, like, that era, was the case of, yeah, the Simpsons games that people liked enough, or they thought wasn't too bad, if nothing else. So, but yeah, I'll also say this, as we mentioned, don't think like, oh yeah, because the game is horrible, that means it's off the table. No. If a game's horrible, that actually make it fun as well. It might be one of those cases of bring up a bunch of people. Alright, also, yeah, I don't want to get hit, so yeah, Super Ball this guy to death. Sweet First, what's your experience with Simpsons Wrestling? Have you played it? Because I hear it's supposed to be atrocious. But that also can be fun. Bad, but funny. Yeah, funny for a lot of ways, I guess, as far as what you're seeing on it, and also the fact that you still have the voice performances of the people from the show, so you get that as well. I mean, that was also the case because there's another 3D fighting game like that from PlayStation era. The Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction, which is on PlayStation, and it's also an N64 where, I'll say this, that N64 version, I think it's worse than Superman. I mean that. But, if we play that, we'd do it on PlayStation, just because it's a little better. Well, a little better, but it's also the kind of thing, like, if you ever want to know if Power Stone was horrible, it would be like, yeah, play that game. It feels like Simpsons Wrestling, but, like, yeah, that was a weird case. But sometimes it'd be an interesting case of seeing, like, licensing stuff of, certain companies, and it gets acclaimed since that came up. The other thing, because, they also were doing games based on, South Park at the time, of which I own one. I have, South Park Rally, which is on Dreamcast, which I can show that. The only South Park games I can't really show is I can't show the 2 RPGs because they have visible nudity in a pretty heavy way. There's no way in hell I can show those games off, so unfortunately, unless I edit around that, or if I play that very specifically, those might be off the table. I don't know how I can handle that, but South Park Rally I could do, the N64 game I could do, maybe Chef's Love Shack, I don't know, that's a question, but I'll see. As far as that, but also the idea of going with Acclaim, the idea that they do a game based on a license, and sometimes it's like, hey, it wouldn't be very good, but sometimes you got some of those interesting exceptions, like one I remember hearing a lot about, never played this, there's the game based on Demolition Man, which I heard was actually really, really good. Oh god, you had to remind me of the Powerpuff Girls game. You played it, huh? That one, right? The Chemical Extraction. Because that was a Bay Area Multimedia, who I believe is a company that's not defunct, or that's not around anymore. They published all those Powerpuff Girls games, and then that game, the Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction, that was an interesting one, because that was developed by Vis Interactive, which is the team that made State of Emergency for PlayStation 2 and Xbox for Rockstar. And they also made, they made Earthworm Jim 3D, which I heard was also not very good, but that was also one that had a very tortured development cycle, from what I've gathered as well. And I think it was a company out of Scotland, I believe. But, yeah, I played... I guess here's a question. If that Powerpuff Girls game... Oh! Yeah, I probably should have ran through the door. If you played it, did you play it on PlayStation, or did you play it on N64? Because actually, here's the thing. Let's go into that. On PlayStation, at least it has cutscenes that are fully voiced by the people from the show. The N64 version cuts all those out. It was the worst rental ever. It definitely was a weird rental for me, too, playing that Nintendo 64 version. Because the thing, I mean, and that goes with something with licensing, which is that sometimes you want to play a game based on a franchise, and you want to really feel, it's PlayStation. You got the better deal, you got the better end of the deal than I did, my friend. I will say that, because imagine the PlayStation 1 version without the cutscenes, that are fully voiced at least, so you do get that perspective. As you mentioned a couple weeks ago, you get, like, all the characters from that show, including, we mentioned Jim Cummings voicing Fuzzy Lumpkins. He's in that game as well, along with everybody else. The Nintendo 64 version does not have any of the voice acting at all. It is only one piece of music throughout the entire game. There's only, like, 2 voice samples. And this came out in November 2001, after the GameCube had already come out, and after Conker's Bad Fur Day already came out, which was a game that, lest you forget, was fully voiced on that system. Amazingly. I don't know how they made that game fully voiced, but they did it. This game is one of the last games on that system, is not, and I'm like, why? I did get Mega Man X4 with it, though, so it was a good, yin-yang. Yeah, apps, yeah, there you go. And that's another one we can do at some point. At some point, I do want to try and see if we can't do the Saturn edition of, X4 as it is. At some point, I do want to get back to Mega Man X. I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably do Mega Man X, 1 again, because I haven't done it. And then do X3 at some point, and then get to X4. But, I mean, hey, at least you have two... Actually, that, I guess, is an interesting case with that. Sometimes you have, like, the rentals, like, hey, you rent more than one game. You rent one game, it's like, hey, I don't play this that much, and then the other one you're playing like crazy. Actually, in my case, one of the ones that was that case was, as I mentioned, I rented GoldenEye and Tetrisphere at the same time. I played GoldenEye way more, but then again, it's like, well, hey, Tetrisphere is definitely a better game than something like Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction. And from what I understand, I don't even know if that's supposed to be, like, the worst one. Because there's a couple on the Game Boy Color, I think like 3 of them, that I heard also weren't very hot. But, yeah, we could do that as a fun case. Actually, a lot of options that we have to do stuff for that, even as far as enjoying something really, really bad. I mean, if nothing else, I'll say this. I'd be curious to know what's worse, Simpsons Wrestling or Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction. And I guess two sort of black eyes at the end of the PlayStation's life. And in the case of Powerpuff Girls game, you think, like, hey, Power Stone ripoff with Powerpuff Girls should be great. Because there were a lot of games that were ripping off Power Stone at the time, and a little later, based on cartoons, stuff like Rave Master, stuff like The Great Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And from what I understand, those games are actually pretty decent compared to something like the Powerpuff Girls game. Oh, no. But nothing else will probably be worth looking into some of this stuff, just the purpose of covering, you know, some of those licenses and get into that discussion as well. And Krusty's Funhouse, Krusty Super Funhouse was Super Nintendo Edition. But yeah, it'd definitely be a good one to look into as well. So yeah, a lot of good ideas. Yeah, just keep all the suggestions you have coming. Because I mentioned before, anytime any of you in the chat, guys and gals in the chat, want to see something, it's an ask and you shall receive, and yeah, we will make it happen. I do love that, and it gives a lot of variety to the show, especially us touching games that feasibly other streamers may not want to touch, either because they think, well, is there going to be an audience for this, number one, number two, it might not be very good, or whatever it is, but yeah, we don't put that limitation on this program. But I do die at, I didn't actually say what the name of this dude was. Oh, no, I did. Dragon Zamasu. Oh, I don't want to get crushed. Oh, no. They also do get those things as far as the whining of them. Alright, boom, you're dead. Alright, we are back to sort of where I died at. So that's the benefit of this game being so short, which is that you get incentives to play more of it. So did you mention Power Stone? Yeah, I have it on... Okay, I have Power Stone 2 on Dreamcast, which is more expensive than the first one, but the first one also costs a bit of money. Yeah, tell me on Power Stone what you're thinking, because I do love Power Stone. That game is great. At some point, we will show Power Stone 2 off. Actually, I might get with the Crochet Nerd, who's going to be on for Majora's Mask next year, because he has Power Stone 1, I have Power Stone 2. At some point, I think we'll probably, like, mix that. And he also did want to come in at some point when we do Space Channel 5, because I realized this past week he loves Space Channel 5. He was like, he knows everything about it. I was like, okay, I think that's one. I said, do you want to call dibs on it for the show? And he says, absolutely. I'm like, okay. Alright. And that is a great game. Another game that seems like it's kind of forgotten, but one I would like to see a return to, because it is one that costs quite a bit unless you get it on the PSP. And actually, that might be the incentive of buying PSP, because at least I can get the Power Stone collection, which doesn't cost that much, so I can show the first one off that way. And of course, get into my memories as far as that. Or, okay, I can sort of show it on the Dreamcast, because I do have a demo disc that has it. And that might be another idea of a night, like demo disc night. Just going through a bunch of those. And so, like, hey, there's some stuff that I might want to pick up. Actually, that might be one for, like, the annual Thanksgiving shows. Like, hey, the variety of stuff. Like, just do a demo disc set. Particularly for Dreamcast, because I got the most demo discs there. Well, there in original Xbox. Alright. Yeah, we're doing okay, and I do have enough points for another continue. So maybe we will finish that Capcom Love the Dreamcast. Yes, they did, and because they put a lot of stuff out on that. A lot of stuff that, especially if you're collecting for Dreamcast now, I mentioned we did Sonic Adventure, that you can get a Dreamcast collection going pretty decently as far as pricing. Not, there's stuff that's gone up, but not as many things that are insanely expensive, but Capcom stuff, that's gone up massively. People really want that. Stuff like the Marvel vs. Capcom games, Cannon Spike, which is one I heard was supposed to be really, really good. The Gigawing games... Project Justice, which is one I've heard a lot of people really like, the sequel to Rival Schools. That's a lot of money, but it's one that, yeah, they did put a lot of stuff out for Dreamcast, and they gave a lot of good stuff for it. In fact, I I'm trying to think as far as the stuff I have of Capcom's on system. I think it's only Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and Power Stone 2, I think. Although I do have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in other places. Actually, it's going to be one of the games. Oh, right, Spawn into the Demon's Hand. Right. They did make that. I never played that. How is that? Ooh. Yeah, I was mentioning I have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on something that's not Dreamcast. In fact, actually, we're going to show off 2 versions of that in a couple of weeks as far as the fighting game showcase. You'll see what I mean when we get there. But, okay, got a life. Perfect. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is definitely harder because of those bouncing things there. Yeah, I never played that Spawn into the Demon's Hand game. I heard interesting things about it. I also heard interesting things about the one that was on PlayStation 2 that I think was by, I think it was Namco who made that one. And I also made into the connection with Soul Calibur 2 with Spawn that way. I have no idea. I never played it. I think that's another one that I think sort of costs a bit, but I don't know how much. Although as far as stuff for Capcom on Dreamcast, well, Cadence Bike I know goes for a lot. That I know that might be that and Project Justice might be the most expensive ones. But then there's also I think the cheapest one, and this might be one to get for the purpose of that, Techromancer, which is I think a fighting game, but I haven't played it, so I don't know. I should also take a look at my demo to see if I have anything else that's Capcom that's not Power Stone, or Power Stone 1 anyway. Oh no! Yeah, okay, we're at the point where I'm riding the rocks again. But I do like, again, the discussions we're having, and all the ideas like, hey, I didn't know that we'd be going into, you know, that the discussion was going to spiral into the direction that it went, but I say spiral is a good thing. That's not a bad thing at all. I love the idea that, hey, we're going into this. And me being small, I can ride down the bottom and be safe. I mean, if nothing else, I do want to see if I can't, yeah, make that jump, but also can't beat the expert mode. Alright, I'm not getting up there to the top, fine. I guess then, Sweet First, because we talked Spawn on this program a bit before. Do you have experience with any of the Spawn games, specifically? I honestly don't myself. Honestly, the closest I have is Soul Calibur 2, the Xbox version, because he's in that. But he's also in the HD version as well. Outside that, not really much, but that might be another one as far as a license that we haven't touched yet to, do more with. As I mentioned, when we did Sonic 3 and Knuckles, hey, Spawn was in the comics, twice, technically. So, get that going. Oh, okay, that was close. Yeah, in this case, it's a little harder to see the spiders there. Actually, I think there's more of them as well. No, I haven't played any of them. Okay. I mean, to be fair, there weren't... Okay, there was sort of a couple. There was a few on... There's one on Super Nintendo. There's one on Game Boy Color. There's the one on the PS2. There is In the Demon's Hand from Dreamcast. And I think that's it. Which was interesting also because I think... I'm trying to remember I've seen the movie. Yeah, from 1997, 8, I believe. I'm sort of familiar with the HBO series, because they did an animated series that was like a late-night thing for HBO, which looked pretty striking as far as what they're doing with it. And that would be, I guess, an interesting one for like companies to go back to seeing, especially because that perspective of Spawn being this interesting, I guess, interesting creation, interesting character from what I've seen, although honestly I'm not much of an expert on Spawn as it is. No. Okay, I just realized, actually, coming back to this now, I'm realizing, oh, the reason this was the end of this level is because there was a 3-2 in a cave. I did not know that. I didn't pay attention. Actually, how was that movie? I heard it was good at the time. I don't know if it's held up, or if you liked it or not. At some point, I probably should take a look at it. I guess it's a different take on a superhero movie, or superhero perspective. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Let's try and make this jump so I can get some lives. Ah. That was cool. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I get that as well. Let me take a drink of my water. So, yeah, we are getting a lot of play out of this game, or a good amount of play, at least. Yeah, we'll see if I can't beat this thing. So far, we're doing okay, but we'll see. Whoa. Oh, no. But at least because of this, I believe the continue takes you back to the level itself. I think. We'll see. Yeah, it does. Perfect. Alright. Oh. Yeah, but I don't want to lose the life again, because, like, hey, I played all this time to try and get back here. It might be one of those things, yeah, just take your time, which I guess with this Mario game you kind of can, even though you have a time limit. Oh, no! Oh, whoa. Yeah, just trying to see if there's anything I can jump to. Oh, no! Okay, I tried to go into that. It's cheesy, but love the suit. Okay. Oh, at least they put me sort of back. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't want it to end this way. I at least want to die at the boss if I'm going to die at all. Oh, wait. Yeah, let the rock pass. Yeah, I can't go in there. Okay, it's that one. Okay, I was thinking ahead. Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to be able to make it up there. Alright, there a mushroom here somewhere. Well, down there maybe, but I don't know if I want to go down there. Almost. Okay, good. Yeah, fortunately there's not going to be enough here for a life. Oh, shit! Unfortunately, the invisible block did me in. So it's just like the other one. Not bad for someone who worked on Spider-Man. As far as the movie, you know, let's do another run of this, and probably about 2 hours. That's gonna be where I'll be. Or next time I get a game over and we can't. Well, maybe not. You know, we'll see. I mean, I'm getting more play this way, but yeah, go into that. I mean, I'm trying to remember who was involved, because it wasn't Raimi didn't direct. Sam Raimi did not direct the movie. I know that, or the Spawn movie. He was doing other stuff at the time, but it wasn't that one. So do regale me as far as that. Because yeah, I mentioned Spider-Man at some point, at points on this program, and at some point that'll be another one in the request pile. Although actually. Oh, no, actually, no. We're gonna see Spider-Man in a few weeks because of the fighting game showcase for Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh, the comic. Right, because I think, yeah, I think McFarlane did it. Was Seth MacFarlane? Oh, not Seth MacFarlane. That's Family Guy. Todd McFarlane, sorry about that. Didn't he? I thought he did a run on Spider-Man, or was it somebody else? Or maybe they shared. It was Todd McFarlane, okay. Because I didn't know, because you're right. I mean, a lot of cases with a lot of comics like that, sometimes you'll have, like, guest runs on comics from other perspective, because Spawn's not a Marvel character. Spawn is a Dark Horse Comics character, I believe, as opposed to Marvel for Spider-Man. But sometimes they'd have like a crossover stuff as far as the writers writing for different comics. All right. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't have to really even explain much of the game anymore because okay, we beat it over an hour ago, which is funny, I guess. That was like, well, hey. When this goes to the YouTube site, that'll be different. It's like, hey, the beating of this game took place an hour ago. You didn't miss it, don't worry. But, yeah, see, the game slowed down a little, but not too bad. Actually, this game does run pretty nice, especially for how early into the Game Boy's life it was. So in that case, you have that too. And maybe I should just be using the Super Ball more, just, you know, just decimating stuff with that. I remember when I first played that, first I thought, like, wait, this is a fireball. I was like, no, it's not, it bounces. Actually, no, I didn't even know it was called the Super Ball initially. It's like, oh, why is it a bouncing fireball? Then I learned later what it was. Alright, yeah, I guess it is pushing the Game Boy a little bit because of how many enemies, because there are more. The Spawn suit is like a symbiote. Yeah, yeah, you're right, that is true. And actually, there is one site in that animated, I think it was like a, no, yeah, it was a series that HBO had. Where I think basically the suit, it kind of did the Venom thing, which it was, you know, taking over the people, but it was also like sticking the suit element like onto their face and kind of sucking the life out of them. It's surprisingly violent, but I mean, then again, Spawn is a darker character, so it kind of fits. So there is that familiarity, and it does kind of fit them that way too. Let's try and get 3 lives. Or... There we go, perfect. Yeah, I guess just to go to this, I guess what you really want to do is, I guess, sort of pay attention where Mario is and press the button right where he stops, but also, I guess, be cognizant of where the ladder is, although it's not always easy to, you know, manage that. It's kind of a little bit of a guessing game to a certain degree. Yeah, in this case, oh yeah, okay, yeah, there are more of those falling ceiling thingies on hard, I'm noticing that. Alright. Oh no. And actually, that goes to one other thing. I guess I'll go to this, because I actually... it looks like the Venom suit. Yeah, that it does. As far... Yeah, like the color scheme as well. That's absolutely true. But yeah, I'll go into something as far as this game, because I remember... I think I was mentioning someone was going to play this, and I was saying how short it was. I think they asked me specifically, they said, would people necessarily feel like they're not getting their money's worth for a short game? It's actually a discussion I've had with a lot of other people, as far as, like, how much is your money worth when a game is really short. Although, this game was only $30 when it came out. Admittedly by 1989 standards for the $30. But even then, it's like, well, hey, there is value extra, as we've been showing, because we have the expert mode. Actually, when you beat the expert mode, assuming we don't beat this, I mean, we'll see if that happens. But if we don't, what happens when you beat the expert mode is that you get the option to select any level. You can kind of go back to anything as well. And I think there might be an easier mode, but don't quote me on that. Because actually, it's kind of interesting to find information for this, because it seems like there's a lot of mixed messages as far as how's the continue work. And then I basically looked at a PDF of the instruction manual where it says, like, oh, just get 100,000 points. Which I'm nowhere close to. Oh, and I thought I was going to get hit by that. Oh, no! Alright, good. I mean, I guess I should be doing good at this. I've done this, like, what, 7 times now? And we're seeing, not Daisy as it was, but, hey, at least we are getting that aspect of Daisy, and it was mentioned at the beginning of the show. This was the first appearance of Daisy, and, since then, she's been in other stuff. Mostly a lot of the Mario sports games, usually. I mean, I'm trying to remember of some of the other, like, platform games where she was in. I think maybe one of the new Super Mario Brothers games, I think. But I don't remember. Alright, there we go, get another life. Alright, let's see if we could beat the extra mode. Yeah, see, I'll say this, actually. This is one other thing I probably should have mentioned, but I haven't yet. This is actually my first time playing the expert mode. I think I beat this game once, as it was the normal way, and then... But I never played the expert mode. So nothing else has given a view of that part of it, too. Because as I said, on this show, we get into a holistic look of everything about a game that we can show off, even if it's the case where maybe my skill is not up to snuff completely. Oh, I mean, I guess I did better playing it through the first time, so it's just the expert mode, which is supposed to be harder. And to think also this is not the only Game Boy game of Nintendo's that had that option. There's also Kirby's Dream Land that had something like that. And that's another one I have 3DS Virtual Console version of, so if I can figure out how to get a streaming element for 3DS, the world will be our oyster as far as that as well. Or just getting a Game Boy. Oh. Alright, yeah, give me a star, give me a star. Actually, it is interesting we're hearing Jacques Offenbach again, because actually heard we heard this song, sorta, we did Mad Maestro a few months ago, which... I just want to go back to this again. It's like, can we talk that Spoiler was voiced by Goliath from... was that from Gargoyles? Remind me which Goliath you're talking about, because actually that... if that's the case, I mentioned that, I think... When we did Kingdom Hearts last month, I think that was Jeff Bennett, wasn't it? If that's who you're talking about, as far as Goliath. Because Goliath could mean a lot of things. I think there was a Goliath in Gargoyles. I believe there was... Well, okay, there's David and Goliath in terms of elements of that. Or Davy and Goliath as far as the claymation... the claymation element. Yeah, clarify to that, and we can go into it. I do have 7 or 8 lives here, so we are good. Alright, perfect. at least we're getting a life. Actually, can you do the... Yeah, alright, because you can sort of do the thing in Super Mario Brothers that you could, like, do the duck jump, where you hold down and you crouch and you kind of slide under the wall like that, or under the ceiling. And bust those blocks. Okay, there we go. Now we got everything. Oh, Keith David. Right, okay. Oh, right, okay, yeah, okay, so I was thinking something else. Yeah, Goliath from Gargoyles. Yeah, was voiced by Keith David, yes, who is also the Arbiter in Halo games. And also had, well, one thing I remember him from, this is an insanely dark thing. He had a very small role in the movie Requiem for a Dream. This extremely perverted guy who has Jennifer Connelly do things for drug money that, yeah, earned that movie the NC-17 rating it was going to get, but it's insanely painful to watch that. But it is a great movie if you can handle how harsh it is. But yeah, Keith David, who is very good also, and he's the father of the girl that Ben Stiller goes out with in There's Something with Mary. Of course, you get probably one of the most famous scenes in that, when he's saying, like, trying to be the support system to the unfortunate thing that happens to Ben Stiller's character in that movie. Yeah, Keith David is definitely a very good voice performer, and he was Spawn. Yeah, he was, from what I understand, I remember hearing him as Spawn, he was quite good. I mean, then again, Keith David has a very distinct voice. When you hear him in anything, regardless of whether it's something like that, whether it was in, he was the villain in The Princess and the Frog, actually quite good in that. And also, in a movie, unfortunately, was kind of wasted in, which was Night School, the Kevin Hart comedy from a couple years ago, which is terrible, but he's in it for, like, 2 scenes. Like, okay, at least there's Keith David in it, so that's cool. At some point, I guess we'll get Keith David going when I get one of the Spawn games, if he hasn't, because he does voice Spawn in the PlayStation 2 game, that I do know. And then also for Halo, when we do, specifically Halo 2 and 3. Because that's where he starts voicing him. Or voicing the Arbiter in that game. Yeah, I think this might be the end of me as far as this, but we'll see what's going on. Yeah, it's so, so upbeat as far as, the music, even though I'm dying constantly. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna, yeah, right, I'm not making the promise we see the end of the expert play, but then again, we're having a great discussion, I guess, and I guess, Jack, okay, that was weird, I hit the block just as I got, jumped down on by the seahorse. But nothing else, I mean, I do like that's going on, and I guess, chat, you're liking it, and, if not, let me know. Alright, I'm gonna shot again. Alright, one more time, because, yeah, I should eventually get to this as well, but, we'll see if we can do it one more time. Fortunately, I did not get the, continuously, yeah, back at the beginning, but, as I said, we beat the game already, so, yeah, there you go. But I said, if nothing else, it kind of goes to a different perspective, because, like, hey, a lot of streams would do this game probably just like, hey, let's just, beat it, and, then we're done. I was like, yeah, I'm not giving you just 35 minutes of a show, I'm sorry. I at least want to have something to it, and go into a holistic look, and also it gives more time for discussion, which I do like. And as I mentioned, I didn't know some of the stuff I'd get into tonight, even though I have, like, the script prepared to a certain extent as far as what I want to talk about this game, like the factoids and things. Then other stuff comes in, and I learn a lot, and, I really like that. No. Alright. You know what, fine. One thing we're gonna do, though, is, since we looked at Virtual Boy mode, I think I do want to look at how this used to look. Let's give the holistic look this way, which is, this. So yeah, a little bit of a brightness change. Alright, but because here's the idea. When we were playing Game Boy back in 1999, this is what the game was going to look like. The green and black. So yeah, we'll finish with the Game Boy look, the old look as far as how it is, and have that full picture. But I gotta tell you, thanks again, chat, for this, for bringing up Virtual Boy, or that discussion coming up, and then kind of inspiring the idea of let's play it in Virtual Boy mode. But as I said, we go into the whole element of it as well. And I never really had thought, let's do that on Virtual Boy, that'd be a good idea. But it also shows off the Super Game Boy in a unique way, because it's actually the first time I think we're running anything with it. But it will not be the last, as you mentioned. Whoa. Okay, now I'm totally throwing caution to the wind, completely. Okay, that was weird, it was like a little flicker on the top of the screen. I don't know, I don't think that's anything... Okay, maybe that's just the game. Maybe just because there's a lot of stuff on screen. in a lot of cases, I mean, yeah, I guess you had Flickr stuff on NES and Game Boy as well. Ooh. I should jump there. Alright, we'll see, again, how far I get on this point, but then after I get a game over, I think that's going to be... Okay, now... Okay, maybe I'm fine. Maybe not, because, you know what? You know what? Screw this, walking off, because I'm going to have one more full run to this, because, like, yeah, that's not fair. I'm saying, like, hey, I'm going to end this thing after, like, 2 hours, only because of this game, feasibly, and I guess next week will, I don't know, sort of be a case of that. I mean, I can elongate that one to a certain degree with Sonic 3D Blast, but then the week after that with Kingdom Hearts, and that's going to be a full 5 hours. And then the genre showcase is going to be another one where it's going to be a bit of time, because we got a lot of games to cover on that one. And I'm really looking forward to doing that show, for sure. In fact, I did procure the last couple games I wanted to have, you know, discussions on, and so we should be all set with that. Well, almost. There's one thing I do want to try and unlock in one of the games I'm going to play. But I'll see about that as we go along. When I get time feasibly to do it, anyway. Alright, yeah, I'm just totally being not careful. But, okay, you know what, I'll go into this perspective, because I may as well go into my... Okay, that was lucky, I just hit it just in time. Which is that, when I first played it, I think what I did is my fault with this game, when I first played it, was I'm playing it like I usually play other Mario games, and because I have the Sonic perspective, which is just run like crazy and hit everything. But even more so, I think, than the ones on NES, that can get you into trouble, especially because of the way the physics work differently. So, I think that might have been the reason why I didn't really like it that much the first time I played it, and maybe because, as I said, I did it wrong by playing the other Mario Land games, or 3, way before this. But I think now that I've come back to it, now that I'm playing it, I'm liking it. I'm liking the style. I mean, I think that's really also what it is. It has this nice atmosphere that is unique, not just because of the Game Boy perspective, but just because it feels otherworldly in ways the other Mario games do not. It is fun. It has really great music. It is a pretty indelible one, and one that I'm glad we were able to play. I'm glad, Sweetverse, thank you for recommending it, and for, you know, inspiring the idea of us coming to it, to again remind people of this game, because it is one that, yeah, I mean, the Game Boy has not really been a name perspective of Nintendo's for a while, and maybe I'm thinking it might be high time for Nintendo to return to it, or at least maybe add that to the not the virtual console, the 3DS Online. No, it is on 3DS. The Switch Online, sorry. I mean, feasibly also to justify that $50 and maybe do what they were doing with 3DS after the first year, which is like, hey, people were upset they spend as much money on it, but, you know, incentivize that purchase a bit more. So, like, here's some other stuff, and, you know, make it a really well-oiled machine. I mean, I think, just go back to that quickly, they have to fix the Nintendo 64 emulation. That's the first thing. But the Genesis stuff is awesome, and we will show off how the Genesis stuff goes in December, because I'm using that to play Rise Star, and it's terrific. I do have both the controllers for that, so I'll show off at least the Genesis one for the purpose of that. I'm definitely looking forward to doing that show as well, along with all the other shows that we have planned for the rest of the year, and also all the stuff for next year. Because I've realized, actually, that with a lot of the suggestions I've been getting, and a lot of the things that are on tap already, it's like, I get the sense I have a big schedule ready to go, but a lot of options as far as what chat wants to see and where I can fit some of those in. Because I've mentioned a couple times that, hey, we're going to do certain things at certain points, and it's been interesting to kind of fit them in. So, like, hey, how's this week going to work? How are all these games going to go? Thank you. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're welcome, of course. I love doing it. But it's also fun for me, I guess, in some ways, because I get that experience, but I also get to kind of hang around with all of you in the chat. And also, as I said, broaden my horizons, but also it's not just, you know, me sitting here doing this. Because, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, feasibly, as I mentioned this, you have a lot of options of things you could watch on a Saturday night. There are other streams on Twitch, as I've mentioned before, I'm not going to lie to you, that get many, many, many more viewers than I do. But you know what? I'm fine with that. I like this kind of, you know, communal setting. And in that case, I really want to base this around what the viewers want to see, and also kind of make them happy. Make it like, hey, you want to come see the show every week. And I appreciate that so much. And I can't say that enough as far as give that gratitude off. but I at least want to give that perspective, also giving you my experiences and also hearing all of yours, and that's the idea. This is fun, and I'm glad you think that I love doing this, I'll tell you. It's something that, as I said, I just started this really just kind of to just be in connection with more people when I wasn't seeing them, when they were, in other states, or in other cases of, I guess, people being quarantined and things like that. I guess as we're sort of coming out of the pandemic, may as well say that. I mean, I'm not in a monetizing case. It's not going to be when I go to the YouTube site I'm getting in trouble for that, because I do this for fun. It's not something that I get paid for. It's just something I want to do. And it's something that's morphed into this kind of thing that I just adore this, and I adore this experience, and I love the idea that I've gotten to know so many people in the chat and understand their experiences and broaden mine that way too. So in that case, I can't thank you enough. So in that case, as I mentioned, I kind of just feel like this is something that is very important to me that very way, and to keep it going as much as it can. As I said, we're going to be getting guest appearances on the program starting next year, starting with Protorova for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and then the Crochet Nerd for The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, which is going to be the next big thing. You and Sweet First You and Sweet First know so much about games, and I learn a lot from that. And as I said, I learn a lot from that as well, because as I mentioned, this is not a case necessarily of me saying, because it would be easy for me to come in and say, like, look how great I am, look what all these things I know about gaming, let me educate people in ways that I feel like, oh yeah, let me talk down to you. No, I don't know everything at all, and I love the idea that people are coming in here and giving me experiences on things that I don't have a familiarity with, or kind of helping me understand more on myself, kind of, in some ways, more of my kind of reaction to this game specifically. It's kind of helping me kind of enhance that appreciation that I have as well. It helps to have a sibling. That's true, I mean, and that's also my case as far as my brother, although in my case, I was more the game person, but in this case nowadays, it's the kind of thing that he plays games in some cases more too, in some ways, but then the idea of like what I do as far as what I play, and also what got him more into it. So I mean, but that shared experience, which is the point of the show. And in that case, I really like that too. So, because you have that different perspective, because here's the thing, everybody coming to a game, really, or any game, is going to have tastes of different things they like, different genres, different things they look at a game, differences of what they consider a good game or a bad game, and why. And sometimes the idea is, as mentioned before, that there's games that we've mentioned we don't like, that in some cases not as obvious of, oh, this is a bad game, I hate how it plays, or something like that. Sometimes something very specific, like it's been mentioned, stuff with story, or with, I don't know, certain elements of atmosphere that really take you out, and then kind of sully that. But also understanding, because as I said, I think that's really why I started doing this again, which is just give my idea of, like, why does gaming matter to me? What is it that I consider good games and bad games? And kind of, as I said, give an outlet to myself to express this more, but also give people in the audience, anybody who wants to come in on the show, either as a guest of mine on the program in the studio or just in the chat, let me hear what you have to say, and just go ahead, go nuts. Sometimes bad games be fun because they're so bad. That's true, and that is, as I mentioned, the Bad Game Thursday perspective. I do that with my coworkers, of the sense of I want to show off stuff, or they want to show off stuff that's like, hey, it's bad, just get that, experience. Sometimes it'd be good for a laugh, and here's the other thing I'll also go into. I mentioned that I'm going to start to have a couple customs to this, the Thanksgiving show with stuff of that, making you laugh. Yeah, absolutely. Because there's stuff that I had a blast, like doing some of these really bad or really weird games, like seeing people's reactions to certain things. And I kind of see this as a bit of an extension of that. But actually, I think I'll do one thing, which is another yearly custom I think I'm going to do is the April Fool's Day episode, which is going to be as close to it as we can. Last year we did Slam City with Scottie Pippen and Sewer Shark. Well, actually, I kind of liked Sewer Shark more when I played it after the Slam City with Scottie Pippen game. I think we do a bad game at some point, and I think we mix that in as well. So it's like, hey, we'll do a couple of things to check that out, just to see if... Because the other thing is, it gives you other perspectives of games that are not very... Okay, why do you like games that are great? Because one thing is like, okay, let's take Super Mario Land as an example. This game is good because of the atmosphere it creates, and it's still fun, even with some of the differences as far as how it feels. But then you play other games that are like this, other platform games, other games that, especially at the time, we're trying to chase down Mario and Sonic as like the next big thing. And sometimes you're like, hey, there's a design problem as far as how it controls or how the levels are, or the idea of how the enemies are placed. I mean, even as far as this game, I don't necessarily think the enemy placements are necessarily like, hey, this is going to make me, or it's going to frustrate me too much. I'm going to feel to some degree with that, like, hey, or even like the idea of the exploding enemies. I played games with exploding enemies before. I was like, hey, you get the sense that it seems really cheap. Not so much with this one, even with me maybe not being as great at this game as other Mario games. So that makes it really interesting, and in that way, I mean, maybe as I've gotten older, I think this has really been the case. I'm realizing, in some ways, how important bad games are when you really think about it. Or because in some ways, it's not always an easy case to tell, like, what's a bad game, what's not a bad game, and get that, you know, debatable concept. And I mean, it almost goes to something that, it is more a movie thing, but the late Robert Altman, director of films like MASH and McCabe and Mrs. Miller and The Player, which is The Player is perhaps one of the best movies I've ever seen, one of the best movies ever made about Hollywood, said one time, like, how do you take bad reviews from critics? And he said, I take it in stride because if I didn't get a bad review, what would a good review look like? Or how would I know what a good review would look like? And in some ways you can take that to games, yes, but anything really, which is, okay, how do I know a good game from a bad game? We mentioned this. Let's go back to the Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction. Like, that's a bad game because of how it feels and plays, and it's cheap, and you can basically, actually going back to that N64 version, you can just keep hitting Z and A and beat the game, no problem. But it's also really cheap in a lot of ways, too. Then you play something like Power Stone, which is taken off of, and you realize, no, Power Stone is a lot of fun. It has a lot of items to kind of tilt how the game is going to go. It has 4-player support, on 2 at least. And it just has this great atmosphere about itself and feel that you just remember, you kind of think back to, like, every time somebody would mention Power Stone, they're like, yeah, Power Stone. It just kind of makes you smile, makes you realize, yeah, it has that nice connection. And something like this game as well. So it's not just even necessarily like a nostalgic concept of, oh, I grew up on it. Sometimes just coming back and realizing, hey, it is really good, or even if it might not be as good as you remember, it might be something that, hey, there's value to it because of how it might have shaped you, or being able to look at it in a more modern perspective, and I do love that. Especially this, like, for a game that is, God, this is over 30 years. Okay, this is 32 years this year, wow. Not the oldest game we've played on the show, but definitely going back a ways. So, yeah, it's for a game that's 32 years old. This plays really well, even with me saying initially, like, I didn't like this game because of, well, the physics worked the first time I played it. I don't know, maybe I was a little wrong. That's the other thing, the evolving opinion, because I played games sometimes where I didn't like them, and then I played them a little later, gave them the shot, and they really, you know, clicked with me. Or sometimes games I tried to give another shot to, and they didn't. And I guess maybe one of those cases was like Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, where I don't like as much as Pac-Man Championship Edition Deluxe, but I liked it more. And things can grow on you, yes. That's absolutely true, Dolphin, and very well and eloquently put. And I mean, sometimes the idea of like, hey, how that works, I mean, I'll go back to something Sweetverse said when we did Top Gear. He really is not a big fan on Persona 5, but he loves that franchise, so he's saying like, hey, let me get the Royal Edition to play it against. Like, was there something I was missing? What maybe because like, I'm getting the sense from what he was saying on that one. He loves Persona, like, I know that. He brought that up multiple times, so I get that. But also that, like, he wanted to door this game the way other people did, and it wasn't clicking. And he's like, well, let me play this again, but it still isn't clicking. So that idea of always saying, like, hey, I gave it my best effort. And sometimes that's the most you can really do on something like that. Or always see, and I think that's the benefit of this show, really, which is just getting into the discussion of where does that lie in, and where's that, and actually, it's going to be an interesting case when we do Sonic 3D Blast next week, because I know Sweetverse mentioned at some points, like, not huge on Sonic 3D Blast, although I don't know if it was on the Saturn or not, or in the Genesis, and also, in some cases, like, that is a different kind of game, so, like, what's the expectation? We'll get into that next week. I definitely am looking forward to doing that, and, you know, doing Saturn for the first time on this program. I finally have the tech to do it. I tried 3 times to, like, yeah, and so that in that case, nobody could ever come to you and say, like, you're not fair to this. Absolutely not. Like, clearly, you were more than fair, for sure. And hey, if it doesn't click with you, it doesn't click with you. And I've been in cases like that too. It's like, you sometimes get the sense of people telling, like, this game is great. It's like, you try to give it a chance. Like, I'm trying. I really am. You don't necessarily want to come off as someone like, hey, I'm not gonna, like, upsetting people that way. But it's like, look, I'm trying my damnedest. In your case, you said you bought it again. So, like, that is not a case of, you know, I'm gonna, you know, poo-poo this or say, like, oh, I don't like this to be different. It's not that at all. And I love that as well. And the idea that, and I guess that's been the thing with the chat for this, is that you've all been able to come in and express what it is you like about games and don't like about games, or what games you like and don't like, or have that perspective to it, and it adds this holistic perspective, and I do really like that, and I really appreciate that you're bringing that to the show and making the show as much as it is, and as I said, it's your show as much as mine because of that. So again, I thank you very much, and I say that every week, I know that, but I don't think I could say it enough. It made me rethink Kingdom Hearts 3 as not being the worst RPG ever played, and in the other case with Kingdom Hearts 3, it's more the idea that it's a lot of the... Because, look, I mean, we could say Kingdom Hearts 3 is a better game than something like Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction, for sure, as far as, like, how it looks and plays, because it looks and plays fine, but then you also look at it in a different perspective. It's not a question of, you know, the controls being off. It's not a question of it not looking great. It's not even a question as far as, like, sound design or something like that. It's more about looking at some aspects of the game's on and having other games to compare it against. Especially the case with Kingdom Hearts, it's like, hey, if you played the other ones, and even with me having not played the other Kingdom Hearts as much as you have, I completely get where you're coming from. And actually, that's why it's good, I think, we're playing through Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm seeing more of the mechanical depth of that game, I think, playing it now than I think I have at any point I played it, because in a lot of ways, I just played it usually like an action game, like a hack and slash, like a Zelda, pretty much, which is not to say Zelda doesn't have depth, it does. But now I'm realizing, oh wait, I gotta manage my stats a little better. And okay, that was weird. I don't know if my controls got locked. It looked like when I was bouncing those guys, but I still lived. But I do like that as well, because it's not, as I said, it gets to that, okay, that was me being stupid walking off, so I can't necessarily blame the game for that. But again, I like the idea of hearing that, like, hey, you're thinking about these things, but also I'm thinking about these things as well, so I mean, being like-minded that way, and getting that discussion out. Saying, like, this is a place that you can have that discussion going on, and, hey, it's like, if you're, like, disagreeing or something, even with me, it's like, I'm saying a game is great, and you're saying, like, no, I don't like it. It's like, yeah, you know what, I'm not mad about that. I want to hear where you're coming from, and I love going into that. In fact, that's also, I guess, gonna be that it has been the, appeal of having people on the program, I guess, sitting with me to get that idea of it. Although, in the case, admitting with the two games I know I'm having guest appearances on, it's clear-cut, because I know that Proto-Revel loves Ocarina of Time. I know Grace Shea Nerd loves Majora's Mask. That's a given. But then again, there might be parts of them that, like, might be annoying. And okay, alright, the rock just dove out of the way, or jumped out of the way, but, okay, fine. Maybe that was just my issue that. Okay, but yeah, maybe me going into this is gonna be bringing us to success with the hard mode. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the rock to go. You know, oh no! I was like, yeah, of all the things there's like, I thought I could get over the rock to just go on the exit, or try and get up there to get, oh no, again with the rock appearing. Alright. Alright, just remember it's gonna appear. Yeah, I'm ready for you this time. We're saying, okay, there we go, we'll just ride it. Made it. Okay. If I can get some lives off of this, we'll be golden. It would be amazing if me waxing philosophic, I guess, on the show and thanking the audience profusely, as I tend to do, would bring us to victory. Alright, come on, let's get 3. Oh, 1. It's 1 I didn't have, so there you go. And I have to continue as well, so at least I'll have something. Oh, actually, it is up to the point where I was... Alright, so we're either going to beat this game or beat this game on the expert mode or we're not. So, there we go. And it would be fitting if we beat it on this in Game Boy green and black look. Yeah, so let the spider come down. Try and see if I can't find items. Oh, you're good. We got a mushroom. come on, spider, come down. Actually, I guess going back to the look of this as well, I mean, I guess I would be remiss if I didn't mention one thing, which is, we were playing this on Super Game Boy, as I mentioned, and if we ran this on the Game Boy player, on the Game Boy Advance, you'd have, like, palettes that are built into that. But I believe there is a project, there's like a, I guess it's a ROM hack, sort of, where they do give this a full color treatment. So basically, like, an unofficial Game Boy Color port of this. Oh, that was close. So in that case, at least it's worth bringing mention that. Well, no, okay, no, yeah, there was one for this, and there was also one for Super Mario Land 2. Because none of those were, they didn't get Game Boy Color versions. And Wario Land 1 didn't either. But Wario Land 2 did. Alright, so we're almost there, and I have a couple more coins again in the life. Just run, run, run! Let's try and see if I can't make this. Awesome. Alright. I think that's the first time I've done that successfully on this level all night. Alright, come on. Okay, one. Is it? I'm not gonna complain too much. And honestly, you can't lose on any of these in the sense of you at least get something. It's just a question of what is the something you get. 2 more coins, I get a life. Perfect. Okay, yeah, now I'm remembering. It's like, yeah, there's a rock that's coming out. Although, actually, I think those rocks have a different name, so... Actually, I'm gonna try and get up there with the, with that, because there is... Yeah, tons of coins. Perfect. Alright. Also, maybe it's just me, but I think maybe there's, like, a pitching difference on the music. I'll have to listen to that, because I don't remember specifically. Honestly, at this point, I think I'm just going to pretty much... Well, jump on top. Get that... Can I jump up there? Okay, I can't, but... Alright, I can get points, but hey, by the way, every time you hit the blocks, they're worth 50 points. Not much, but hey, I'm almost to another continue, so I may as well keep that going. That was a life, if I can get it. Okay, good. Yeah, in that case, though, I can't get that block over there because I'm just a little too far to the right of it. Oh, no! Yeah, it's the slipping off thing, but I have more lives, and I have... Yeah, I have a continue, at least. Alright, come on, Spider, you're going down. Alright, I have to remember this time, unlike last time, that there is a hidden block. Yeah, just remember that there's one jump there. Okay, they're good. Alright, so in that case, it's good that I made that mistake. Because so in that case, it's like the other Mario games that, hey, if you don't do well on one case, you will remember feasibly for next time. Oh! Yeah, sometimes you fall down to the side like that. Okay. Yeah, but I do have more lives. Yeah, I'm feeling good, honestly, about maybe getting through the hard mode. If we can do that, I'll be golden. Yeah, I'm just skipping that, mostly. Although I probably should check those to see if there's a mushroom or something in there. Unfortunately, yeah, it's not. Yeah, because he's throwing the rocks. I just need to jump. Oh, made it. Alright. Alright, so that's good. We're actually on the final world, so I might be able to do this. And actually give you more of a show, feasibly, for this game than it would initially seem. Alright, so one more time, Daisy is in another castle. Alright, so 2 lives on the back of that, and 1 more run through Chai. Let's see if we can do it. Now, I'll have to put the name also of what those enemies are called, because they do have a very specific name, as do all the enemies. Oh. Yeah, it's one of those cases where the quick fall can be weird. Okay, I think I missed where the Super Ball is. That's fine. Oh, there it is. Okay, by the way, like with the other Mario games, so I'm glad I showed that. If you get hit and turn small, but there's a flower on screen, it'll just act as a mushroom when you touch it. So at least you're getting something for your trouble, even if I'm not getting the Super Ball. Alright. Alright, there's coins there, but honestly, it doesn't really matter to me right now. I am a little bit of a tight spot here. Ooh! Oh, perfect. Alright, so there we go. Got the Super Ball. Okay, this would be interesting in the tight quarters that are here. Alright, so there they go. Actually, that is the benefit of the Super Ball, just because it bounces all over the place. And almost towards another continue. There's nothing else also to go into this. There is a good difficulty ramp up. Oh, no. There's good difficulty ramp up, and there's also more frequent checkpoints to some degree than some of the other Mario games. Oh, it puts me way back here. I think. Or maybe this is further on. Alright. Okay, no, it just looked similar. Ow. Yeah, I do know 4-1 is long, so... Ow. Just get the couple over there, and... Yeah, they're coins, I should say. There we go. Oh, no. Ow! Yeah, bounced on the one, and then got killed the other. But, alright. 200,000. Yeah, because I make that jump over here. Yeah, you just barely make that. Ah, yeah, you waited too long. Oh no! There's 4 of these things. Alright, yeah, we made it. Yeah, I don't care, I just want to get out. Alright, only 2 more levels to go. Ow. I mean, at least at this point I have the 2 continues, and honestly, I think that 4-3, the last level of the game, is easier only because of the shooter part. Alright, we're gonna find out now. The game over, but I do have the continues, so we're gonna use them. And I have 2, so we're in good shape. But I don't think I want to get the items down there. Yeah, definitely more enemies here in those things as well. Actually, wait, the pipe, does it go somewhere? Unfortunately, no. Now, so I think taking the high road is probably the better option. Ooh, and jump over that guy. Oh no, they have more of these things. I wish I had something to bust through those blocks with. Another one of those things. Oh no! Oh right, I forgot about these things. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a little nervous, but I guess I'm doing okay. Sometimes that can kind of help for me, and actually I know a lot of people are that way. Sometimes they get really nervous at something that kind of enhances their skills. Like, yeah, because they feel the pressures, like it's do or die time, so you gotta handle this. Oh, they put one of those around the item. Wow, that's weird, but okay, I have the mushroom, so good. I put that one there, but yeah, I don't care. Go. Alright, come on, not Koopa. See, I don't want to, I want to call them their real name, but like, they just look like Koopa Troopers. I'm sorry. Ow. Okay, good. There's a mushroom here. Yeah, this game is pretty forgiving with the checkpoints, so I'm down with that. Alright, fine. Just keep going. Yeah, I'm just doing it one step at a time. Ow. Yeah, that was not a good place to take a breather. Alright, we got one more continue, and I hope I could do this. Let's see. I mean, if I get through this one at least, the rest will be okay. And you know what? I think I need to check every single one of the item boxes so I can be in good shape, hopefully. Alright, there we go. So there is our mushroom. Ow. Yeah, I'm so close. That's the other thing. I was like, I want to do this. I'm really almost there. Okay, good. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, so I didn't think this game would get that intense, honestly. Yes, yeah, let him go to the side. Actually, he probably isn't. Okay, good, there is. I was like, yeah, would you take the risk to go get the item or not? But in that case, it was worth taking that risk for. Ow. Star! Except I'm in the mercy platforms. Oh, and I missed it anyway. Alright, one more try. Alright, just have to be careful with the platforms this time. Perfect. Alright, that was good so far. Fine, hit that one. so close. Oh. Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous now. Music reminded me of this video. I'll definitely take a look at that for sure, and I'll put a link to that in the YouTube site version. Who? Oh, and they're putting in the bullet bill there. Wait, where is it? Where does it come from? Oh my god, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, I made it, but I need to get up here for lives. I'm not going to be able to do this without lives. I guess I'm going to have to do it without lives. Last stage. See, now they don't have lives. Yeah, the pressure's really on. Or find items. I have to find items. Perfect. Yeah, die everything, die everything. Ooh, yeah, we're getting tense. I'm just basically just hitting that Y button endlessly, not stopping. There's hardly any items. Oh, there's one. Mushroom, perfect. Okay, yeah, just extending it out a little longer. If nothing else, this will probably be one of the more tense playthroughs of this game, you'll see. Oh, yeah, thank God there's a life. That's just the break I needed. Flying chickens, literally. Alright. Come on. Star! Yeah, at this point I'm just breaking every box to see if I can... Alright. Man, yeah. Alright, come on. Room of coins, room of coins. Coins, give me all the coins. Alright. Yeah, I am shaking, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, not kidding about this a hard mode. Yeah, I don't even know if I need to shoot, because like, no, I'm just shooting everything, I don't care. That's better. Well, another life, awesome. Yeah, just go through it, I don't care. Come on, Cloud Guy, I don't know what your name is, I'll put it in the YouTube site, but you're going down. One more life. I do think they put me right here. I think they do. I was waiting until the fists go down. Okay, good. Last life. I just circle the guy and avoid the flying chickens. It comes off an interval. I got him. One more. Alright, Tatonga. Alright. Alright. Unfortunately, I was not able to do it. Alright, so, Princess Daisy, unfortunately, you're gonna have to stay captured as far as that way, but... Oh, man. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it. That's sometimes what happens, unfortunately, but... Nothing else. That did give you more of a play of this game. I guess attention, feasibly, if you're coming to this on the YouTube site, or will come to it that way. So, like, can I beat it on the hard mode? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Oh, man. But I got to the end, at least. It's just I died at the end, but again, that's how... I mean, if nothing else, I'm kind of glad that happened, because it shows the idea of what does it mean to, you know, play a game like this, you get all to the way to the end, you get a game over, you have to start over. But, yeah, with that, that will be the end of Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. I had a great time playing this, and, sorry I couldn't beat it, again, we beat it the first time, the normal way. The hard way is hard for the reasons you saw, but at least it chose the whole hard mode, so if you're going to be playing it that way, you know what you're in for. Alright. Yeah, I had a great time playing this game. It is a fun game, and one that, if you have Game Boy, it is worth looking into, and if you have 3DS, it is downloadable on that. That is the cheapest way to get it. But I had a great time playing it and having our first representation of an actual form factor case of a portable game. So, thank you very much, Sweet First, for the recommendation. Thank you very much, Dolly Finn and Sweet First, for everything in the chat as far as tonight. All the stuff we've gotten into. I definitely will keep on tabs with all the games that you mentioned, and at some point we will cover all of them. Okay, so before we end for tonight, let me reiterate what the schedule is going to be. Thank you. You're welcome. It is my pleasure, and thank you very much, all of you, for showing up for the show tonight and each week. Next week is going to be Saturday for the show, and it's going to be returned to Super Sonic Games Saturday. It feels like it's been forever since we've done one of those, but we're going to play Sonic 3D Blast for the Sega Saturn. It's going to be your first time playing off of the Sega Saturn. Good night, everyone. I had fun. I'm glad you did, and I had a great time with you and Sweet First and everybody else in the chat, so again, thank you very much. So next week is Sonic 3D Blast for the Sega Saturn, showing that system off for the first time. The week after that, we are going back to Kingdom Hearts for Part 3. As far as where that's going to take us with that game, I'll have to do practice just to get a sense of where that is. But yeah, that'll be the longer show, running 5 hours, although, hey, I was able to squeeze 2 hours, 40 minutes out of Super Mario Land. So yeah, mission accomplished that way. I'm looking forward to it. I am too, and also to the episode 2 days after Thanksgiving for the second annual Super Old Game Saturday Genre Showcase. It'll be 20 fighting games running through the Xbox 360, but it's going to cover a bunch of systems, old and newer. So, yeah, look forward to that. With all of the look at that, we'll have a whole holistic look. I'm looking forward to doing that. And then the first weekend of December is going to be Rystar for the Sega Genesis. We're going to run it on the Nintendo Switch Online via the expansion pack and with the Sega Genesis controller that I have. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I've been wanting to do that game for a while, because that is, talk about other games that are great that don't seem like they're remembered. That's a new one for me. It tends to be a new one for a lot of people, and I was just as guilty as everybody else of having not played it when I grew up. I had it in my hand once to rent at a Blockbuster store. I decided against it. When I played it years later, I kicked myself. I said, what was wrong with me? That's definitely a regret as far as me with my gaming, but it's also one that for the rest of my life, pretty much, I'm going to be pretty much banging the drum of how amazing that game is, as I do with a lot of games as far as that, but also, especially for that one, because I was just as guilty as the people. But yeah, exposing the world to that, telling you that these games matter, these games are important, these games are worthy of representation. Super Mario Land is definitely a case of that. Thank you again for the recommendation, Sweet First. I look forward to fulfilling all of the recommendations that you all have as we go along with the show. But I think with that, I'm going to close out. Thank you very much for watching Super Old Game Saturday once again. I hope you have a great rest of your night, extended night, because I believe we're in a daylight savings time case. You're getting an extra hour. A great Sunday tomorrow and a great week coming forward. Thanks again. Yes, thank you again, Dolly Finn. Thank you, everyone in the chat. I cannot express my gratitude enough. I had a great time, and hopefully you all did too. And in a few days, it'll go on the YouTube site, and I'm looking forward to putting it up there as well. All right, so with that, I think we're going to close out. Thank you very much for watching the show. I'll see you next week for Sonic 3D Blast for the Sega Saturn. And until then, keep being awesome. Have a great night. Thank you again for everything. And take care.